somewhat manner of detail. So we're going to give praise, glory, and honor to the Most High Yah by way of his son, Yahushua HaMashiach. Let's look at John chapter 5, verse 39. And see, a nigga got mad about that. John 5, verse 39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. So a lot of people, they really don't have the love of the Most High in them. And I said, now I'm gonna read something to y'all. I'm gonna start there first. And what I'm gonna actually read to y'all is, hold on, let me find it first. Well, we'll start with the first thing first. Like I mentioned to y'all, when you look at the word queen, the word queen is an old English word. And you know, most people believe that it means wife of a king. Ain't that's what most of y'all believe it is? Well, now we're gonna look at this right here, right? Let me read this excerpt, and then we'll look at the etymology of the word. It says, world history. Queen and queen sound alike and are spelled almost identically. Both refer to women, but are wildly different kinds. Queen comes from Old English queen, which is spelled C-W-E-N, pronounced queen, or K-W-A-N. Queen, wife of a king. Comes from Germanic queens, woman, wife, queen. Queen comes from Old English queen, pronounced queen, woman, female, female serf. Y'all know what a female serf is? Y'all know what a serf is? No, a serf is from the Middle Ages. A serf is basically an indentured servant, someone of low degree. Basically what somebody working at Burger King or McDonald's is considered to be today. It says from the 11th century, I mean, basically, be honest, if you work at those low-level retail jobs or low-level restaurant jobs, for all intents and purposes, you are a serf in modern times.
Peasant, if you will.
A peasant, yeah, exactly, a peasant. It says, you know what I'm saying? From the 11th century on, it was also used to mean prostitute. So when we're talking about 11th century, you're talking about what? The 1000s, so to speak. This is the time period we're talking about. Say the Germanic source of queen or queon, woman, wife, once established, the pejorative sense of queen drove out its neutral senses, especially in the 16th and 17th centuries. It was used almost solely to refer to prostitutes. So when we're talking about the 16th and 17th century, obviously, you know, there are so-called queens ruling in so-called Europe at the time. So that means, obviously, you know they couldn't have called these women queens then. Because that means unless they were a prostitute. You know, me and T made a very nice observation. You know, when you look at a queen bee in a honeycomb, you know what she does? What does the queen bee do in the honeycomb? She has sex with all the bees. And guess what? Y'all familiar with a rap artist? You know what I'm saying? What that whole name is? Lil' Kim. And what did this stinking hoe call herself? And what did this stinking hoe go around and do? Need a new transmission. She need a new transmission right now. New engine. Everything messed up. She tried to dial the odometer back. Ain't gonna take up for all them miles. Yeah, they claimed back in the day that she had swallowed a lot of semen and they had to pump her stomach out of semen. I don't know if it's true or not. Half a pint. Yeah, boy, if you got a half a pint of semen in your stomach, boy, you something wrong with you. That's a lot of fluid. Some of y'all used to love to drink them, make you look at a half a pint of milk, won't even look at it the same way no more. They say, I don't even want that no more. Say, I'm just gonna drink water. You know what I'm saying? It said around the same time, many English dialects, the pronunciation of queen and queen became identical, leading to the obsolescence of the latter term, except in some regions. So what they did was they came up with another word to mask the original intent of the word. This is what they did now. It say the Germanic root for both words, queen, woman, comes from Grimm's law, from Indo-European. So I lost my spot. Root Gwen woman, which also appears in at least two other English words borrowed from elsewhere in the Indo-European family. One is gynecology, from Greek gon, woman. Another less obvious one, this is the main one why we have a problem with it. Okay, you're a whore, you're a prostitute, you say you want to be a queen. Another less obvious one is banshee. Do y'all know what a banshee is?
This thing riding Halo.
Huh?
It's riding device in Halo.
A riding device in Halo. Yo, so any of y'all ever heard of a wild banshee? A wild banshee is a wailing, howling spirit. So I guess you won't be playing that on Halo anymore. Yeah, I never cared for it either. But that they say on Halo they got a vehicle that you ride around called a banshee. In fact, they got a motorcycle called something called a banshee. You know, if you got one, you better sell it. Four-wheeler called a banshee. And banshee is a woman of, ain't that something? These people took a four-wheeler and named it after a demon. An unclean spirit. Let's go get on the banshee. Why would they call it a banshee? Because the four-wheelers make a lot of noise. And a banshee is a wailing, howling spirit. It says the wailing female spirit attended on a death from Old Irish ben woman. So basically when somebody calling themselves a queen, you basically saying you're a spirit of the dead. That's why the main reason why we would have a problem with it. Now let's look at some other things that we can find. It says Old English queen, female ruler of state, woman, wife. From the Proto-Germanic, quins cognates, Old Saxon quan, wife, Old Norse, kevion, Gothic quins, alphabet variant of queenon, source of queen from pi, given woman, wife, supposedly honored woman, cognates Greek gem, woman, a wife, Gaelic bean, woman, Sanskrit, Jairus, a woman, wife of a god, a goddess. See, this is the etymology of the word. See, that's why they say, you see where it started as say female ruler of state, but as you keep going on in the history of the word, now you got a wife of a god. Who do y'all know any certain idolatrous gods you know of that's supposed to have a wife, who be a wife of a god? Any of them come to mind for any of y'all? Isis. You know what I'm saying? Astaroth. Whoever Zeus supposed to have been married to in Roman pantheon or Greek pantheon. Then it says Abaton, Janish wife, Armenian kin woman, Old Church Slavonic, Old Prussian Gina woman, Gothic Kino woman, queen. The original sense seems to have been a wife specialized by Old English to wife of a king. In Old Norse, still mostly a wife generally as known as quan fang, marriage, taking of a wife, unmarried widow, the domineering of a wife. English is one of the few Indo-European languages to have a word for queen. That is not a feminative derivative of a word for king. The others are Scandinavian, Old Norse, Drofning, Danish droning, Swedish droning, queen, Old Norse also mistress, but these are held to be ultimately from male words such as Old Norse, Drottning master. Then it goes to talking about used as a chess piece in the mid 15th century of a playing card of bees. They generally were thought to be kings as in Henry V. Queen bee in a figurative sense is from 1807, meaning male homosexual. You know what I'm saying? So these women around here talking about they a queen bee and they saying that they are a rump ranger. This coming, and the brother we were talking to yesterday sat back and said it doesn't matter where words come from. It doesn't matter. There's also, and it gives the names of some of the Greek gods who were wife of gods and all this type of stuff, man. There was also another name, another meaning for the word queen, of which we cannot repeat. But the word is, any of y'all ever heard what white boys like to call white girls that makes them real angry? Starts with the letter C, referring to female genitalia. That's another meaning for the word queen. Now, how many, ain't that something? And you know them Hebrew niggas be big. The queen, how you doing, my queen? How you doing, my queen? You around here calling that woman a whore. You know what I'm saying? But what, most importantly, you around here calling that woman a goddess. You know what I'm saying? You calling this woman a banshee. She's a howling spirit. You know what I'm saying? And you look at a lot of them women who say they're a queen. They some old loudmouth heifers. Can't never shut their mouth. You know what I'm talking about? Want to always rule over a man. You know what I'm talking about? Hold on, son. Hold what you got. Come over. I think in Proverbs 19. So I'm going to show you something what the words say you supposed to do with a woman like that. Let me see if in Proverbs 18 I want. I'll show you what the words say you supposed to do with a woman like that. Proverbs 21 and 9. I'll start there. Proverbs 21 and 9. This is what the words say you supposed to do with a woman like that. I hope ain't none of y'all be around that with that always running your mouth. This is what the words say you supposed to do with a woman like that. 21 and 9. It's better to dwell in the corner of the housetop than with a brawling woman in a wide house. What you think that would mean? What y'all think that means, gentlemen? Always, that man say it's better for you to live on the top of the house than with a woman who always arguing and can't shut her mouth. Boy, ain't that something? They say it's better for you to live on top of the house. Woo woo. I forget, it come to my mind. He said the same thing about a contentious woman. And when you sit back and you look at it, women always talking about, I'm a queen. I bet you is a queen, you stinking slut, because you'll never shut your mouth. Always wailing and hollering. But let's look at some other things when it comes to the word queen. Y'all ready? Well, let's look over here. Let's look at Psalms 45. Somebody got their speakerphone on. They're going to have to do something with it. Psalm 45 and 9. Now, when you look at Psalm 45 and 9, it says, King's daughters were among thy honorable women. Upon thy right hand did stand the queen and gold of Ophir. Now, I said, somebody, you got to take that thing off speakerphone. It echoes, and people can hear that echo. You just got to, or you got to mute it. Now, do you really think that if Yahuwah knows that the word queen is talking about a banshee, a howling spirit, a female god, or a goddess, that is talking, you think that word really would be there? Or did these people just put something in there that they want to put in there? What y'all think? Huh? What y'all think? So it's been inserted. Now we're going to mention to you what the actual word is supposed to be there. It says that you'll find the word shegahal. And that word is spelled S-H-E-G-H-A-L, which some trace back to shagahal, which means to ravish, a rather doubtful derivation. But the actual word that you'll be there is to be shegal, which means a woman. You know what I'm saying? A woman. You know what I'm saying? I just mentioned that you got shegal, which is S-H-E-G-H-A-L. And then you have shagal. Shagal is S-H-A-G-H-A-L. So the difference is an E after the S-H. That E, it means something totally different. That S-H means to ravish. You understand? Y'all follow me? You know what I'm saying? So now we're going to turn around. It says that this woman is in the gold of Ophir and was among the, I say, upon the right hand did stand this honorable woman in gold of Ophir. So now we're going to sit back and we're going to look at something. Well, let's look at Revelation chapter 3 and about verse 20, and let's see what it says. Whoever that is, I'll ask you, this is the third time now, you got to take this phone off speaker. I can hear that. If I can hear it, others can hear it. All you got to do is press mute. This is not a difficult request. Just press mute. 3 and 20. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and I will sup with him and he with me. To him that overcome will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I also overcame and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that have an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the houses. So now you can sit back and look at something. If this woman that's draped in gold is sitting at his right hand, let's look at what he just said in verse 18 of the same chapter, not too long before that. Not too long before that. Let's just look at what he said not too long before that. Revelation 3 and 18. Let's just look at what he said not too long before that. Revelation 3 and 18. All right, hold on. I counsel thee. Hold on, y'all. I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou may be rich, and white raiment, that thou may be clothed, and that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear, and anoint thy eyes with eye salt, that thou may see. As many as I love, I rebuke and chasten. Be zealous, therefore, and repent. Now, he said he counseled thee to buy of him gold tried in the fire. And he said this woman sitting at his right hand would be covered with gold of Ophir, didn't it? Let's look at Isaiah chapter 60. After you get Isaiah chapter 60, get 1 Peter chapter 1 and about verse 6. And after you get that, they'll get you Proverbs 6 and 23 to go along with it. Isaiah 60, I want to say about verse 17. Isaiah, make it 16. Isaiah 60 and 16. Golly. Come on, man. Work with me, buddy. There we go. Thou shalt suck the milk of the heathen, and shalt suck the breast of kings, and thou shalt know that I, Yahuwah, am thy Savior and thy Redeemer, the mighty one of Yaakov. For brass I will bring gold, and iron, and for iron I will bring silver, and for wood brass, and for stones iron. I will also make thy officers peace, and thine exactors righteousness. Violence shall neither be heard, shall no more be heard in thy land, wasting nor destruction within thy borders. But thou shalt call thy walls salvation, and thy gates praise. Why is that important that he tell you you'll call the wall salvation? Why is that important for any of you brothers? That first thing come to your mind. Why is that important? Anybody? What did he tell you about in the book of Daniel? You know what's around the city of Jerusalem, right? You had gates around the city, right? Or walls around the city, right? Remember this here? Hold on. Remember now, he just told you for brass he'll bring gold, which means he's going to outfit you with gold. Now, I want y'all to come around and, since I mentioned it, come to Nehemiah chapter 5. Don't pay Lizzie no mind. She bucking bed, she getting a whooping. Still hold 1 Peter chapter 1 and about verse 6 and Proverbs 6 and 23. Don't pay Lizzie no mind. She getting a whooping. Lizzie's a bad bucker. Leah go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? Leah go to sleep. Lizzie like to buck and like to peek her head out the door. Nehemiah 5 and 6. Make a fact. I didn't say 5 and 6, 6 and 6, but we're going to read verse 1. My apologies. Nehemiah 6 and 1. My apologies. Now it came to pass when Sanballat and Tobiah and Geshem the Arabian and the rest of our enemies heard that I builded the wall, that there was no breach left therein, though at that time I had not set up the doors upon the gates. Listen what he said. There was no breach. What you think that mean? There was no breach left up on the wall. He said, I builded the wall. There was no breach. What is a breach, gentlemen? It's a gap. He said, I built the wall and there was no gap. He said, at that time, I had not set up the doors upon the gates. What do you think this man means? I ain't set up the door on the gates yet. Because you know what you need a door and a gate for. I mean, this is obvious. I'm not trying to insult your intelligence with asking such a simplistic question. But what's the purpose of having a door and a gate? So you can come in, right? So what do you think this means? There's no breach on the wall, no gap on the wall. He said, at this time, he said, I done built, listen, I'm going to read it to you again. This is what it said. Our enemies heard that I had builded the wall. There was no breach left therein, though at the time I had not set up the doors upon the gates. So what do you think this man mean when he say, I finished building the wall. Ain't no breach on it. I ain't opened the doors yet, though. I ain't set up the doors yet. Well, let's look and see how there would be no breach. Go ahead. Well, matter of fact, before that, this here, let me get Daniel 9 and 24 first. Because he said, I'm going to call your walls salvation. That means these walls, if the walls of salvation, that means that they deliver, right? I mean, it's going to be for protection. So let's look at 9 and 24 of Daniel, and let's just see what it say. 70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon thy Kodesh city to finish the transgression and to make an end of sins and to make reconciliation for iniquity and to bring in everlasting righteousness to seal up division and prophecy and to anoint the most Kodesh. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto Mashiach the Prince shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. The street shall be built again, and the wall, even in troublous times. Now, he's saying that the city, the going forth of the commandment, say the street and the wall will be built again in troublous time. You got to remember, we looking at Nehemiah, which y'all hadn't brought us back around there to finish this out. Of what we were dealing with the building of the house and things of that nature, because he's taking us in different directions for things relevant at what we were dealing with at the time. Y'all we'll get back to all of that. You know what I'm saying? But when you sit back and you look at it, what's going on in the book of Nehemiah? What in the book of Nehemiah and the book of Ezra? What is this a similitude of? I've mentioned it to you before. We just ain't delved into it yet. What is Nehemiah symbolically showing you of what was to come? What are they doing? Matter of fact, let's just keep it simple. What are they doing in the book of Nehemiah on the natural level? What are they doing? They're rebuilding the temple. And they're rebuilding the temple after what? What caused them to rebuild the temple? After it had been destroyed. And what? And after it was destroyed, where were they coming from when they were coming to rebuild it? They were coming out of captivity or out of bondage. So we know spiritually, what you reading in the book of Nehemiah is actually about Hamashiach coming out of captivity or coming out of death and him being rebuilt because he is the city. He is the gate. He is the wall. He is the temple. This is basically about him raising from the dead. You know what I'm saying? That's what that is about. On the spiritual level, on the natural level, they rebuilding that temple. You know they had to rebuild it because I destroyed the first one to raise the second one. Remember, we done looked at that before. I had to do it. The one in the wilderness was a shadow of what would to come. The first one wasn't coming in the flesh. That one got destroyed. The one with Nehemiah is him resurrecting from the dead, which is why you read in Haggai, this latter house, because he talking to Zerubbabel and Yahusha, son of Jehozadak, the high priest, who were present in the book of Ezra and Nehemiah with the rebuilding of this house, right? And what did he tell them? This latter house will be in more glory than the former house. That means the house of Mashiach was in when he rose from the dead was greater than the one when he was in the flesh as the Son of Man versus the Son of the Most High. You understand what I'm saying? You follow what I'm talking about? So now when we sit back and look at this, he say the wall will be built again. It will be built again. Well, let's look at 1 Corinthians 15 and 1, and let's look at a profound statement from the Apostle Paul. And we still got 1 Peter chapter 1 and about verse 6 or 7 and Proverbs 6 and 23. But Lord, we'll just bear with it, man. I don't know if Brother Goldie done got on the thing, man. I think he obviously feeling a little better, so thank the Lord for that. Thank the Lord for that. This stinking charger, you dirty whore. More 1 Corinthians 15:1. Moreover, brethren, I declare unto you the good news which I preached unto you, which also you have received, and wherein ye stand, but which also ye are saved, if you keep in memory what I preached unto you, unless you have believed in vain. For I have delivered unto you first of all, which I also received, how that a Mashiach died for our sins according to the scriptures, and that he was buried, and that he rose again the third day according to the scriptures. Now, you mentioned how he said this man died for your sins according to the scripture. Do y'all remember when we were looking at that Proverbs 20? Remember how he said the blueness of a wound cleanse away evil? And so do the stripes. See, and remember how I mentioned to y'all before we got started that them calling you a nigga shouldn't affect you if you no longer live as one. You know what I'm saying? The same way that how I mentioned to you, if you were a whore, or you were a liar, or a fornicator, or a thief, or an idolater, or malicious, or spiteful, or angry, or stubborn, or disobedient, whatever it might be, that there would be a ceasing of that. I want you to hold what you got. Just slide over here to 1 Corinthians 6:9. There's a reason why I mentioned that. There's a reason why I mentioned that. Because if the blueness of a wound cleanse away evil, and we dealt with that the blood of a Mashiach should purge your conscience from dead works, then you also going to sit back and look at when we get to Proverbs 6 and we get to 1 Peter chapter 1 and the wall being rebuilt in troublous time and there being no breach in the wall, even though the door hadn't been placed on the gate. If there's no breach, that means there's no gap. And if there's no gap, that means there's no sin, which means there's no separation between you and your God. You know what I'm talking about? Because we know Isaiah 59 say, it's sin which have separated you from me. You know what I'm talking about? Why can I hear you and why can I save? He say, know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of Elohim. Be not deceived, neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor effeminate, nor abusers of themselves with mankind. That effeminate part, especially for you sisters with your sons. That's why, man, as much as you love your sons and all that type of stuff, if you baby them too much or you do certain stuff, they will be effeminate. Being effeminate means they ain't gonna be no man. And that don't necessarily have nothing to do with actually showing feminine characteristics. You know what I'm talking about? Please don't think that that's what I'm talking about. Not in this instance. You know what I'm talking about? It's not just dealing with feminine characteristics. It'll have a feminine mind state. Basically, like this here, man, I gotta tell you, man, you'll have a grown little boy. You know what I'm saying? Who's not gonna want to do nothing. You're gonna have another child. They're gonna think like a woman. They're gonna act like a woman. That's why you see a lot of the stuff these young dudes do, and even like they act like girls, because they ain't raised by nothing but girls. What do you expect? Every man that's raised raised by a woman doesn't necessarily act in that fashion. You know what I'm saying? But the likelihood is high. Like I seen a young lady say, yeah, man, that's why I take my sons to the bathroom with me. At what age do you stop taking these boys in the bathroom to use the bathroom with you? In your fear that something gonna happen to him, you actually are hurting him more. Because that's gonna make it a 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old boy ain't got no business going to the bathroom with his mama. Something then naturally gonna make him be like, man, I ain't trying to go in the bathroom with my mama. My mama? Now, how some of you brothers feel if you were 7, 8, 9 years old and got to go to the bathroom with your mama? You know what I'm saying? And guess what though? If that uncomfortableness is broken and you get past it, you know that's more hampering for that child than anything. You know what I'm saying? Because now he gonna think that, guess what? He gonna think that's acceptable behavior. And then it ain't no stalls in there. So mess around, you come in there and your son sitting down to urinate. Oh, I mean, all seriously, because he sees that. You know what I'm saying? He sees that. So he's gonna begin to take on the stuff that he see you doing. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like this. I'm talking about for the if you know some of y'all, hey man, if there's men around or they daddies around, then you ain't really gonna have that issue. They gonna have that balance. At the same time, but you can't do them little boys like that because you gonna have grow up to have a male female version of yourself. Then when he get older, you're gonna be mad at him for acting like a girl, and it's your fault. It's your fault because you treated him like one. I'm gonna tell y'all this here, man. You gotta learn your children, know your children. But you always, especially with boys, you got to give them a little bit of freedom. You know what I'm saying? Here and there, bit and there. I know little boys use tissue after peeing because they see their mama do it. So they thinking that's what they supposed to do. Why? Because they going in the bathroom with their mama. Because their mama so scared that something going to happen to the boy. You know what I'm talking about? And next thing you know, you wonder why your son is a pillow biter. You know what I'm saying? And it's subtle stuff. It's subtle stuff like that. It's things that we could do that we think are not really that detrimental or that serious, that are more serious than you can know. Because little kids, like little Muffin say, she see Leah doing stuff and she like this here, like she's really watching me. Them children watch every single solitary thing that you do. As many times as Mouse and T done told me how Kingston do stuff trying to emulate me. You know what I'm saying? Because they watching. And if they look up to you, and I learned this when Lil Muffin was little, which made me assess the things that I did. If you recognize that a young child looks up to you, you know what I'm saying? Then you will have to really start paying attention to your speech, to your behavior, and every single solitary, your dress, everything you do. I'm talking about hygiene, dealing with people, anything you can think of is not minute because that child will mimic it. We know Proverbs 22:6 say, train up a child in the way that they should go and they should not depart, right? So we know that. So if we know that, you can train up a child without overtly training them. You know what I'm saying? Because you're training them by what you do. So if a little boy is always going to the bathroom with his mama, and he views his mama wipe her genitalia with toilet tissue, what do you think he gonna do? You telling him to stand up to pee means absolutely nothing because you take him in the bathroom with you. That's why I tell women all the time, they look at me crazy. You ain't never supposed to walk around no little boy in your drawers. You know what I'm saying? Half naked. I done had too many women. I walk around my son naked all the time. What is wrong with you? Why would you do that? Why would you have your son see your titties? Matter of fact, but see, a lot of them hold this 1 Corinthians chapter 6. Come over here to Leviticus, I believe. Chapter 20. I'm going to just show you that's in our law. You ain't got no business walking around your children naked. You ain't got no business doing stuff like that. Even before I knew the word, I know you ain't supposed to do. Man, the last thing a little boy want to see is his mama naked. Last thing a little boy want to see is any female family member naked. You don't want to see that. Verse 17 of Leviticus 20. Say, if a man shall take his sister, his father's daughter, or his mother's daughter, and see her nakedness, and she see his nakedness, it is a wicked thing. They shall be cut off in the sight of their people. He have uncovered his sister's nakedness. He shall bear his iniquity. You know, a lot of people, when they deal with the story of Ham and Noah, right, they think like, you know what I'm saying, they saw him naked. And you see his other brothers, they turn their back. You know what I'm saying? It also tell you that don't look upon your father's nakedness, or your mother's nakedness. And you know, a part of that is meaning having sex with them. But also at the same time, if you look upon a naked body, father or mother, for too long, it's not going to matter if it's your father or mother, because if your mind ain't right, you're going to be like, shoot, Mom Duke's looking good. Look how many of these nasty grown, like I said, white people known for this. Look how all these white folk be around here sleeping with their kids. You know what I'm saying? You hear about black people doing it, but you don't hear about black women having sex with their son like you hear about Caucasian people doing that. You don't hear about that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like I said, I ain't gonna say it's even numbers wise, because we know it's not even, because it's more of them than it is of us. Yeah, white men be having sex with their daughters. Unfortunately, most of the time when they do it, they're small. Yeah, black men have sex with their daughter. Unfortunately, when they do it, most of them are small. And they're nasty bastards. Penises ought to be cut off and handed to them. You know what I'm saying? But you know, that's not our way. You just don't prance around in your drawers around your kids. You know what I'm talking about? That means now if you got girls, that ain't really no issue. You know what I'm talking about? You still should have enough common courtesy and discretion not to be doing it. But if it's girls, it's not really no issue. Y'all got the same stuff. See, I'm gonna tell you something. See, men ain't gonna walk around their son butt naked anyway, because men just don't do that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Come back to 1 Corinthians chapter 6. I know women used to be around each other, and we walking around each other, we in our drawers, and you know what I'm saying? Men ain't walk, man be like this here, man, like, come on, bro, nigga trying to rush and get their clothes on real fast in the locker room, talking about, I'm finna be walking around these nigga half naked or naked. Finna be walking around a whole bunch of men, nigga penis swinging. You know what I'm saying? This is an uncomfortable situation for everyone involved. And if it's not an uncomfortable situation for everyone involved, something is severely wrong with every individual in the room. I'm for real though. You know what I'm saying, man? I was walking in the locker room yesterday, man. Mix up my stuff. Another bastard stole my glutamine too, rat bastard. You know what I'm talking about? Out the backpack, left. Didn't take nothing else out of it, just left that there. You know what that is? I ain't put my backpack in that locker no more. It just got to come with me. You know what I'm talking about? But nigga just stole my ain't say he ain't take the creatine or the other glutamine, because there were 2 glutamines in there. And leucine. He took the Muscle Tech Platinum glutamine, the one with no flavor. You know what I'm saying? I say, man, nigga just mad because we getting jacked over here, son. I don't know what the problem is. But
go ahead.
I'm walking in there, man. Dude is facing the entryway or the walkway in the locker room, and he pull his pants right down, penis swinging like, bruh, if you know you were finna do that, why wouldn't you face away from the walkway? Because nobody come around that corner want to see your saggy testicles and penis. And the word part was, cuz he had no concerted effort to try to hurry up and get a booty cover on or nothing. You know what I'm saying? Nigga just hanging and swinging. I said, this nasty bastard. Because you already know now, if you facing the walkway, you think you would have enough common courtesy and discretion that if a nigga walked up, if I got to see anything, I'll take your butt cheeks rather your penis. You know what I'm saying? Straight up, if I got to have that shock and surprise hitting the corner, your bare bottom is going, dude, you nasty bastard, but okay, we in the locker room. I get it. You know what I'm talking about? But bruh, your penis? And he just looking around like it ain't no big deal. You know what I'm saying? When you hit that corner, the last thing you think you finna see if any of y'all go to a gym, you know what I'm talking about, when you hit that locker room corner, coming in, the last thing you think about you gonna see is a nigga schwack, man. You know what I'm saying? Oh, but if a nigga in the sauna butt, I don't go in the sauna no way. Nigga in the sauna butt naked, something wrong with that. Because see, my gym say you got to at least have on a towel. You know what I'm saying? Our gym say you got to at least have a towel. But a nigga being at a towel butt naked though, I ain't never sat in the sauna. You know what I'm saying? I got high blood pressure. I ain't sitting in no steam room, be around here about to die. Oh no, see my gym, that's against the rule. And I'm telling you, I'm snitching. You know what I'm talking about? You come up out that sauna butt boogie naked, so I'm supposed to sit on this seat where your old nasty booty and sweaty balls been sitting at. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Guess what? And it's gonna be old nasty nigga, he gonna come in there. I'm telling you, cause these people nasty out here, they been seen a nigga come out that sauna butt naked, go in there and sniff where he sat at. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? Go sniff it. I only said that there cause Fat Boy messing with Sharon, man, talking about he was sniffing bicycle seats. I said, boy, that nigga that crazy. That nigga Brian said, he did what? He said, no, he ain't do that for real, man. He ain't do that for real. You know what I'm saying? He was climbing. I forgot where that was. Somebody we knew back in the day was climbing, talking about niggas sniffing bicycle seats. Well, if you sniff a bicycle seat, what's something wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? Boy, it's something wrong with you to sit in a sauna with another butt naked man.
Go lay down.
Cause if I step in that sauna, right? And I see this nigga here, I ain't even break it. Man, nigga, what is you doing? I might just snap. Come on, my nigga. What was you doing in here before I walked in the door? What were you doing, sir? He was doing more than making coffee. He was in there making cream, nasty nigga. You know what I'm saying? 1 Corinthians 6 and 10. So we out this here, man. I'm just telling you all seriously though, man, what y'all says, man. Y'all be careful, man, what you do with your sons, how you doing, man. I know you love them, you want to protect them, but they are still young men. You know what I'm saying? It's some stuff, I'm telling you as a man, men need 2 things: discipline, responsibility, and freedom. And you give it to them incrementally if you feel like they can't handle a lot of responsibility at one time. A lot of times what hinders a lot of kids is because a lot of parents put too much responsibility on the child at one time that they can handle. You know what I'm saying? And then you get upset with them when they can't handle that responsibility when you overloaded them. You know what I'm talking about? But you got to give a little boy that, just a little bit like this here, like, okay, my mama didn't really have a choice. Like I done told y'all before, I had to catch the bus to school 5 years old by myself and back home. You know what I'm saying? I had to do that. But Mom Dukes eased me into that. You know what I'm saying? Rode with me on the bus a few times so I knew where I was going. Knew what bus stop to get on, what bus stop to get off at. You know what I'm talking about? Train me on what to do, what not to do. You know what I'm saying? About the only thing young I had a problem with was losing my house key. You know what I'm saying? Cause I used to lose my house key all the time. But you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Cause I was staying home by myself starting at age 5. Boom. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no babysitter. You know what I'm talking about? All that there. And I would usually be home alone maybe for what? Maybe 2 hours. You know what I'm saying? 3 hours at the most. You know what I'm saying? You get out of school about 2:30. You know what I'm saying? Mom Dukes be home by 5, 6 o'clock. You already know what to do. Touch the stove and you die. You know what I'm talking about? Open my door and you die. You know what I'm talking about? Don't answer my phone. Don't have your little friends in the house. The older you get, when you feel more comfortable with staying home alone, that's when you start sliding your homeboys in. Especially when you got your video game system. That's when you started sliding your homeboy to the house. All right, man, Mom Dukes come home by 7, bro. You got to be gone by 6:45, 6:30. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's just how it went down when the older you get. Because guess what? If your kids, see, it's different now. If your kids got friends in the neighborhood, oh yeah, the little kid's going to be in your house. Every last one of you niggas did it when your people told you don't have nobody in your house. You slid somebody in there. You know you slid somebody in there, because boy, that Sega Genesis, that Nintendo, that Super Nintendo, yeah. But see, at that time when that came out, you know, now I'm like 11, 12, 13. You know what I'm saying? It's a little different. You talking about 8, and I was like, what, 8 years old? That's 1988? Where were we at? 1988, I believe we was right up the street. About 88, 89, we were right up the street. Right up here at Marshall Lawn, right up the street. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, by myself every day. Like I told you, summertime, nigga, Mom Dukes at work. You know what to do. You know what I'm saying? You got your key. Oh, man. You know what I'm saying? At a different time, you had that freedom. You know what I'm saying? Now, you know, some little kids, you can't give them that freedom. But hopefully, you know what I'm saying? You can. I know, like I said, what, 87? We was over there by University Diner on Sesame. Yeah. Yeah, Grandma used to watch me. After Grandma died, shoot, you on your own. And you know, Grandma would come to do it for what? Because that's my grandbaby. To give me an excuse to see my grandson. You know what I'm talking about? But shoot. Grandma died 86, man. It's back Lone Ranger again. Running around playing outside like it's nobody's business. You know what I'm talking about? I know these days people too terrified for it. Like I told y'all, people going off on them people for sending their kid to the bathroom where that man raped that little boy, and they want and it show you the cost of society. You would rather blame the parent than to blame the rapist. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna blame the parent instead of blaming the sick, perverted man who did that. You can't blame them for that. This is a 6 and 7-year-old boy who I sent to the bathroom together. Because eventually with little boy, I have to give him that autonomy and freedom. I can't continually go to the bathroom with my son. I can't take a 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old boy in the bathroom with me and I'm a woman. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that. Because then one day you're going to come home and you thought him and little Timmy was in the back playing video game, but he was playing with a joystick, all right. Then you wondering what's going on. I just seen on a TV show a transgender girl, about 12, 13 years old, they suing so these transgender kids can use the bathroom of the gender they identify with. So if you's a little girl and you identify as a boy, you want to go use the boy's bathroom. And vice versa. This is how sick this stuff done got. I guess I want to know what they're going to do for them when it's time to go to prison. If they around here commit a crime. Well, I'm transgender. I identify as a woman. You's a man today, buddy. Verse 10, 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 10. He say, nor thieves, nor covetous, nor drunkards, nor revilers, nor extortioners shall inherit the kingdom of Elohim. And such were some of you, but ye are washed. But ye are sanctified. But ye are justified in the name of the Lord Yahusha and by the Ruach of our Elohim. You see the difference when he talking about how you were washed? Because it was the blueness of this man's wounds, right? It was the stripes that he received to cleanse you from this evil. You know what I'm talking about? Now, when he took these stripes and he was beaten, this man died from his wounds, did he not? Did he not? He was wounded for your transgression. The chastisement of our peace was laid upon him. I bruised his soul, and it pleased y'all to bruise him. That's what he said about it. It pleased him to do it. So now when he's done this, it was a troublous time then, wasn't it? We still hold in 1 Peter chapter 1 and verse 6 and Proverbs chapter 6 and verse 23. And y'all we'll get to it. And we also still hold in Nehemiah chapter 6. But swing over here to Job chapter 7. It was, like I said, he said that wall would be rebuilt in troublous time. And last time I checked, remember Jeremiah said it'd be a time of trouble, but he shall be saved out of it, right? Jeremiah chapter 30, you know what I'm talking about? Said it'd be troublous time. He said he'd be saved out of it, though. Job 7 and 1. Say he'd be saved out of it, though. He said I'll break his captivity, too. That means I'm going to rebuild that wall then. He said, is there not an appointed time to man upon the earth, are not his days also like the days of a hireling? As a servant earnestly desires the shadow, and as a hireling look for the reward of his work, so am I made to possess months of vanity, and wearisome nights are appointed to me. What do you think does that mean? What could this mean? What could this mean, gentlemen? Don't everybody answer at one time. Listen to what he said. There's an appointed time to a man upon the earth. Let's look at an appointed time to a man upon the earth. Let's look at Galatians 4 and 1, and then we swing to Mark chapter 1. An appointed time to man upon the earth. That means if it's an appointed time between a man on the earth, that means there's a set time for him to do something, right? You got a period of time. Galatians 4 and 1. Now I say that the heir, as long as he is a child, differ nothing from a servant, though he be Lord of all, but is under tutors and governors until the time appointed of the Father. Even so, when we were children, we were in bondage under the elements of the world. So when the fullness of time was come, Elohim sent forth his son, made of a woman, made under the law, to redeem them that were under the law, that we might receive the adoption of sons. Now keep in mind too, everybody, that this is all dealing with about that woman dressed in gold at the right hand of the king. The king's daughter, as it said in Psalm 45. So now we come back to Job chapter 7. Let me read that verse again before we look at Mark chapter 1. Is there not an appointed time to man upon the earth, or not his days also like the days of a hireling? What is a hireling, gentlemen? You come over here to Mark 1 about verse 12. What is a hireling, gentlemen? A servant, somebody who got a job to do. Somebody like, most of y'all are hirelings. Whether you own your own business or you work for somebody else. If you pay me, I'm going to do this job. I've been hired to do something. So if I'm a hireling, I accept payment for my job. Once my job is complete, I expect to be paid. Don't y'all when the pay period ends, or if any of y'all own your own business or you got a product you sell or a service that you render, don't you expect your compensation? So he just said he said are not, so the man who said is there not a time appointed to man upon the earth? Are not his days like the days of a hireling? Well, Paul just told you that there were times appointed of the Father, didn't he? And when that time was full, then we were redeemed to become sons because somebody had a job to do. Mark 1 and 12. It says immediately. Matter of fact, we'll just look at about verse 4. It says, and Yachanan did baptize, or Yachanan did immerse in the wilderness and preach the baptism or the immersion of repentance for the remission of sins. And there went out unto him all the land of Judea, and they of Jerusalem, and were all immersed of him in the river Jordan, confessing their sins. And John was clothed with camel's hair. I'm going to see who remember. Why John had camel hair on, gentlemen? I just want to see who remember. So what was Elijah's likeness then? Well, he wasn't ready for that part of the question. What was Elijah's likeness then? How was Elijah described? There you go. And Yachanan was clothed with camel's hair and with a girdle of skin about his loins, and he did eat locusts and wild honey. And he preached, saying, there come one mightier than I after me, the latchet of whose shoes I am not worthy to stoop down and unloose. So John is telling you, or Yachanan is telling you that there's somebody who has an appointed time. There's somebody whose time has been appointed. He's coming after me. His time to come was after me. He wasn't going to come before me, even though he was before me, but he coming after me, right? He said, I have indeed immersed you with water, but he shall immerse you with the Ruach HaKodesh. And it came to pass in those days that Yahusha came from Nazareth of Galilee and was immersed in Yachanan in Jordan. And straightway coming up out of the water, he saw the heavens open, and the Spirit like a dove descending upon him. And there came a voice from Shamahim, saying, thou art my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. And immediately the Spirit drove him into the wilderness. He was there in the wilderness 40 days, tempted of Hashatan, and was with the wild beasts, and the Malachim ministered unto him. Now after that, Yachanan was put in prison. Yahusha came into Galilee, preaching the good news of the kingdom of Elohim, and saying, the time is fulfilled, and the kingdom of Elohim is at hand. Repent ye and believe the good news. So now this man's time has been appointed, right? And his days are like, because if you're a hireling, that means you got a set time to do a job. You don't get to do the job in the amount of time that you want to get it done in. You got to get it done in the time frame that it was appointed for you to work. Now let's look at something the Lord told them in John chapter 9. John chapter 9 and verse 1. Y'all just keep Nehemiah chapter 6 and Job chapter 7 and 1 Peter chapter 1 verse 6 and Proverbs 6 and 23. And some way or another, if Yahuwah be gracious and merciful, we'll put it all together and make it all make sense before we depart out of here. So let's look at John 9 and 1. And as Yahusha passed by, he saw a man which was blind from his birth. And his disciples asked him, saying, Master, who did sin, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? Yahusha answered, neither hath this man sinned nor his parents, but that the works of Elohim should be made manifest in him. I must work the works of him that sent me while it is day. The night come when no man can work. So Hamashiach is letting you know there is a time coming. I got to work. I've been hired to do a job. See, hold what you got. Look at Get your Hebrews 10 and 7. And after you get your Hebrews 10 and 7, get your Isaiah chapter 6. I know we moving around, but we got to make all this stuff make sense. It'd be different if there were people reading, but since ain't nobody reading, that's how it's got to be done. Hebrews 10 and 7. Make it 10 and 5. Because he said, I got to do the work which I've been given to do. That means I've been hired to do a job. That means I've been hired by somebody and I expect compensation or reward for my labor. He say, verse 4, matter of fact, for it is not possible that the blood of bulls and of goats should take away sins. Wherefore, when he come into the world, he saith, sacrifice and offering thou would not, but a body thou hast prepared me. And burnt offerings and sacrifices for sin thou had no pleasure. Then said I, lo, I come in the volume of the book. It is written of me, to do thy will, O Elohim. And above, when he said, sacrifice and offering and burnt offerings and offering for sin thou would not, neither had pleasure therein, which are offered by the law. Then said he, lo, I come to do thy will, O Elohim. He take away the first, that he may establish the second, by the which will we are sanctified through the offering of the body of Yahushua HaMashiach once for all. So if he's prepared a body for him, and we know that the word say he was slain from the foundation of the world, does that not sound like that somebody's been hired for a task? And his task was to make his body an offering for sin, that we might be sanctified, that the blueness of his wounds might cleanse away the evil, and the stripes might do that as well. Because the reason why we're looking at this stuff, and to be dead honest, it has to come a time that the sufferings of a Mashiach should not be in vain for the salvation of your soul. Knowing that all the things that this man endured was to cleanse you from evil. That's why he say, how much more should the blood of a Mashiach sprinkle your conscience from dead works? That's why I tell y'all, don't just talk about, and I done told y'all this before, and the young lady that I trained, I just told her this yesterday. She was like, well, I'm trying. There is no trying. You're either doing it or you're not. And if you say that you can't do it, then you won't do it. And you can't do it because you don't want to do it. As I told her, don't say that you can't do something. Just say at this present time, I'm not able to accomplish that. But then you should have the wherewithal that every ounce of your being, every part of your soul would be moved to accomplish the task that at this present time you are not able to accomplish. You know what I'm saying? See, I'm telling y'all, there's a difference of mind state when you say at this present time I'm not able to do that versus saying I can't do that. Because when you say at this present time I'm not able to do that, there in your mind you know that there is the realm of possibility that I can accomplish said task and that I can overcome it. When you say you can't do that, then of course you can't do it because you were defeated before you ever put your hand to doing it, and you will never accomplish it. Now, there's certain things that you can say, like I said, a man can say, I can't give birth. That is a true statement. You know what I'm saying? There are things that you literally can't do. And at the same time, follow what I'm saying. Like if somebody came to you and say, I want you to perform open heart surgery. I can't do that because I don't have this. That's not something we'll say, I'm not able to do that. No, I can't do that. You know what I'm saying? If you was to turn and ask me, can you fix my engine? I can't do that. I do not possess that ability, knowledge, or know-how. You know what I'm saying? At this present time. But when you say you doing certain things that you say you want to do and you say you can't do it, you will never be able to do it. You'll never be able to do it. You've already lost. I'm going to tell y'all something, man, when it pertains to achieving success and victory in anything that you do, it comes with already having a mental vision that you've already done it. You know what I'm saying? It's like this here, man. They teach you this here when you lift in heavy weight. I tell my client to do the same. You're supposed to already see yourself lifting that weight before you actually go grab it. If you got 300 pounds to deadlift, 400 pounds to deadlift, you're supposed to already see yourself in your mind, visualizing yourself moving that weight. You know what I'm saying? I know Delta knows because in sports, they kind of put that in their minds for them to actually see the game and see yourself having success. If you do not see yourself accomplishing a particular feat, you will not accomplish it. I don't care what it is. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what it is. No matter how big, no matter how small. That's why a lot of times a lot of y'all stumble and you don't overcome the things that you having the issue with because you can't see yourself actually doing it. Therefore, you're going to continue to do it. A lot of y'all have to do the same things, that the bad habits that you have cured over the years, because you don't do the one thing I tell y'all to do all the time, which is to slow your mind down. If you make the conscious effort to slow your mind down and actually think before you speak and think before you react and actually weigh out things and what people say to you or what they do, if you actually just pause and stop letting your mind run 1,000,000 miles a minute, a lot of the stuff y'all have issues with, you wouldn't have issues with them no more. You wouldn't have them no more. Because you would slow your mind down, but y'all don't do that. You're too reactionary. There's nothing wrong with being calculated. It's nothing wrong with giving a calculated response. Meaning giving a calculated response means I'm going to think before I speak. You know what I'm saying? When you think before you speak, you won't say stupid stuff out your mouth. And when you don't say stupid stuff out your mouth, you will elicit reactions that are more conducive to what you want to receive back. I'm talking about no matter what it is. I ain't talking about just relationships with your woman or with your man. I'm talking about doing business or interpersonal relationships with people you deal with on your job. You know what I'm talking about? In traffic, in the grocery line. Oh, it doesn't matter. But when you don't do that, you're gonna do that. When you know that you have bad habits, the only way to defeat those bad habits is to slow your mind down. If you don't do that, then you will considerably revert to the old habits and old ways that you have cured over an extended period of time, and you will continually manifest that behavior until you slow your mind down to consciously say, hold on, usually in this situation, this is what I do. It's like, pretty much, truth be told, it's like having game film on the fly. I was watching ESPN the other night, and Justin Verlander, I know most of y'all don't know who that is. He's a pitcher for the Detroit Tigers. He had a no-hitter going. It's in the top of the ninth. A dude who'd already gotten out like 2 times beforehand actually went in the dugout, in the clubhouse, and watched tape of his previous at-bats against this pitcher. And what he ended up doing was, I think he said he moved his hands up on the bat head and loosened his grip. You know what I'm saying? Just a small, slight adjustment, and he got a double and broke up the man's no-hitter. Because what? Because you know what he ended up realizing? The first 2 times I came up here, I just was reacting on boom. But before he came up that last time, he said, you know what? I'm going to slow my mind down. And I'm going to sit about when I was in previous situations and see what I did or what I didn't do. And then do that. When you find yourself in situations where you like, boom, in this situation, I usually snap or say something snide. You know what I'm saying? Or this, that, there, and the other. Instead of instantly going on the first thing to go to your head, you would actually you need to be playing back stuff in your mind. This is how I usually react in this situation. And this is what happens. So instead of me doing that, let me make this adjustment on the fly and come with this. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. Like, y'all act like this here, man. Just a pause. It's like a 15, 20, 30-second pause before you speak. Y'all see a lot of people, they measured speakers. You know what I'm saying? That means they think before they speak. They're processing what was said to them. They're analyzing how it was received by them. And then they're calculating their response back to that person. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't it's just with anything, period. If you know you got bad habits, if you know you got bad eating habits, bad sleeping habits, it doesn't matter. You can take this same theory or same mode of thinking or way and apply it to whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? And you'll get the same desired result. But a lot of the reason why y'all don't, like I mentioned, you don't overcome the things or the bad habits that you have because you don't actually see yourself doing it. You know what I'm saying? Even in times where I done took it, I remember when I took that real estate exam. I missed it by a point, but I seen myself passing that exam before I went in there. You know what I'm saying? Like that was already in my mind. Like you're going to pass. I already see myself. This is done. You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm telling people I'm only gonna take this one time because it's done. I see myself doing this. Even with the first time I took the personal trainer exam, I see myself passing it. There ain't no, well, I hope I pass. I already see myself with a certificate. That, you know what I'm saying? Certified personal trainer, talking about go ahead and take a picture of it and send it to my people so they can see it's done. You know what I'm saying? I see this weeks in advance before I even take the exam. Even if you're not successful, that's all right. But the fact is, because if you can see yourself accomplishing the task, then you believe you can do it. You know what I'm saying? That's the point, what I'm really trying to get across. If you can see yourself doing it, then you can believe that you can do it. And if you believe that you can do it, then you will put forth the maximal effort to do what's needed to accomplish it. But if you don't see that you can do it, then obviously you don't believe that you can do it. And if you don't believe you can do it, then your chances of failure are dramatically higher. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't mean that you will fail, but your chance for failure is going to be higher. That's the same way they tell you that when you're going on a job interview. You're supposed to already come in there with the confidence that I already got this job. You know what I'm saying? Because the reason being because you would exude that confidence. You know what I'm saying? I know confidence is probably the hardest thing for some people. Some people they're not real confident in themselves. You know what I'm saying? I am, because I was nurtured to be confident in myself, to believe in your abilities and to trust in your abilities. Don't question yourself all the time. You know what I'm saying? Don't overthink all the time and all this type of stuff. Just trust. I know, and Delta know it because I know he done heard it playing football all his life, where the coaches tell you just trust what your eyes see. Stop thinking and just trust what you see. You know what I'm saying? See, a lot of time you niggas be thinking so much. You know what I'm saying? You're not trusting what your eyes are showing you. You know what I'm talking about? All you gotta do is look at what you see. Stop thinking so much. You know what I'm saying? And I get it because it's a sports analogy. It's a sports analogy. Because when you playing football or basketball and baseball and you thinking too much, you go to pressing, and when you go to pressing, you mess up. You know what I'm saying? When you going straight off instinct and you're not thinking and you just going with the flow, things are a lot smoother because you trust in what you're seeing, because you trust your ability. You know what I'm saying? A lot of y'all don't trust your own ability. And the reason why a lot of y'all don't trust your own ability because y'all had a lot of people around you that made you doubt yourself to where your confidence waned, where it never grew to the level that it was supposed to be. I know I always made sure that you were confident in yourself. I used to tell you, even if, I remember when you came and told me, little mother, you said you wanted to play football. I had no desire for you to play football. None whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't express that to you, though, did I? I said, if you want to play football, you can play it. But I just want you to know what you're getting yourself into. It's a very violent game. It's very physical. And your body will probably be mangled to pieces. But if that's what you want to do, I'm with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm with you. Because even if it's something that I don't want you to do, I don't never want you to lose the confidence that you could accomplish something. You know what I'm talking about? I don't want you to play football, but I want you to be confident enough to believe if I wanted to do it, I could. You know what I'm saying? That's all it's really about. If I wanted to do it, I could. If you want to be a trapeze artist, I don't care for you to do it. But I want you to have, because confidence is a serious thing, y'all. If you don't have confidence, you don't have nothing. That's why a lot of y'all faith be lacking. See, you don't even have confidence in yourself. So there's no way in the world you're going to have confidence in God. See, that's the difference between the Lord. See, the Lord knew he had a job. He knew the vision of the job. He believed that he could accomplish the job. Therefore, he had confidence that he would get the reward for going what he was going about to do. You know what I'm saying? Come on back to Isaiah chapter 60. Thank the Lord. Y'all didn't even know, boy. I swing it right back to it real smooth. You ain't like the, you know what they call that on TV? They call it a segue. You know what I'm saying? Learn something new every day. Don't say a seg. If you didn't know what that was, it's called a segue. I'm sorry, Isaiah 6. I said 60. I meant 6. My apologies. Still holding 1 Peter chapter 1 and verse 6, Job chapter 7, Nehemiah chapter 6, and Proverbs 6 and 23. You rolling? Y'all all right this evening? Y'all feel all right? Y'all alive? Thank the Lord. 6 and 4. I'll go ahead with verse 3. And one cried unto another, Kodesh, Kodesh, Kodesh is Yahuwah of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. Before we proceed, since I read that, before we proceed, that nigga yesterday, and I said nigga, and I meant it, because what he did was nigga rich. You know what I'm talking about? This nigga says, where does Yah come from? Gentlemen, where does Yah come from? Where does the name Yah come from? I didn't want to see what y'all gonna say. Where does the name Yah come from? Don't everybody rush to answer at one time. You know what I'm saying? Don't beat nobody to the finish line now. God knows we don't want a winner. Just waiting to give a medal out here. And nobody wants to. You know what I'm saying? No, it's not a difference, but where does the name Yah come from? Now, y'all know that Yah is the shortened form of what? Yahuwah, right? Yahuwah comes from what? Y-U-H, you know what I'm saying? Y-H-U-H. Or the tetragrammaton. And a lot of other times you see it Y-H-W-H. You know what I'm saying? Which is why some of them say Yahweh. You know what I'm talking about? So I tell this man, we know that Yah is the shortened form of Yahuwah. And you know, that's the Y-H-U-H, the tetragrammaton. Like, brother, you know that. Oh, Yah's an Egyptian moon god. I say, sir, you're going to need to prove that. Because you do have this dude. It's a dude. His name is Rakal. He leads Gathering to Christ Church. And they teach if you call, because they call on a Ahaya, which is Exodus 3 and 14, which is basically the Most High speaking in third person. You know what I'm saying? Like some of y'all know my man Quad. My man Quad or The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. They speak in third person. You know what I'm saying? Like he said, The Rock says this and The Rock says that. But The Rock is speaking. That's speaking in third person. You know what I'm saying? So when he said that to Moses, and he said, I am that I am, or Shah, he was speaking to him in third person. He still told us, man, my name is Yah, my name is Yahuwah. That's my name. But when you go tell them that, tell them this. You know what I'm saying? So they teach that's what the father's name is, and they say Yeshaya is the son's name. Where they get that from, I have no idea. Now this is the retarded idiot that this man is, because in that Ahaya is the name Yah. And they tell you if you call on Yah, you calling on the devil. Now we pop open Psalm 68 and 4 and see, call him by the name of Yah. Right here in the word. The only time they actually didn't remove the man's name out the book. Yeah. Hey man, niggas say anything when the book condemn them. You know what I'm talking about? When the book condemn them, niggas say anything. You know what I'm talking about? But they stuck on that there. What you gonna say about that? So when he says Yah's an Egyptian god, I say, sir, you're gonna have to prove that. You know what that nigga do? So are you not gonna say amen because Ammon is the Egyptian god? I'm like, this is your response back to me. You made a claim, I asked you to prove it, and instead you asked me another question. Because I ain't said nothing about Ammon. You say Yah's an Egyptian god. I would like for you to prove that, sir, because if it is, because he said if Yah's an Egyptian god, you're going to stop calling on Yah? Absolutely, if you can prove that. Why would I call on a moon god and know that's a moon god and say that's the true god? What type of sense does that make? You know what I'm saying? That's like how all these niggas who say they Hebrews got their name. My name is Kazariah. You know what I'm saying? My name is this. Mighty Jesus. You know that's an idol name. And you know how you know? Because you changed your name. And you know, some of these niggas go change their name legally. It's a nigga on my page changed his name legally, got a Hebrew name, and will kick, scream, and fight if you say he can't say Jesus. Well, nigga, why did you legally go change your name then? You got to be on drugs that you went and spent money to legally change your name and then fight a nigga for saying, man, well, why would you call the man Jesus if you know that's not his name? I wouldn't want nobody to call me Bobby Jean and that ain't my name. You know what I'm saying? How some of y'all feel when somebody don't call you by your name? I'm talking about not even something that's even close to your name. Something totally different. You know what I'm saying? See, I told you clear as day, my name is William James Johnson, and you come tell me Billy Ray Parker. What? Nigga, that's not I told you what my name was. Your name Billy Ray from here on out. And you gonna make that be my name. And you know what my name is. You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean. I tell you, niggas' mind is backwards. You know what I'm saying? How many of y'all on here done heard niggas say the name of y'all is an Egyptian moon god? How many of y'all done heard that before? Yeah, so don't y'all go for that. You know what I'm saying? Cause I'm gonna tell you something, man. This is what they try to say. Oh, they try to say it's a fault. Hold what you got. I'm gonna come back to Isaiah 6. Go to Exodus 32. I'm gonna tell you what them niggas try to go in the book and show you and say Yah's a false god, the false name. This is what they try to do now. This is the game they try to play. We come right back to Exodus chapter 6 right after that. This is the game they like to play. This is the game they like to play. Don't nobody call you by your name. You want a pronunciation. Nigga just talk like that. That's not intentional. I don't speak Caucasian. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Brittany, when they said, Brittany, I don't speak Caucasian. If we was to ask every pure-blooded black person on this phone to say it without thinking, that's how it's coming out. She wants you to say it in Caucasian style. Brittany, nobody don't talk like that. Yeah, nigga can't do it. Not even if they try. If they try, they have to like this here. I sound like I'm white. I'm not talking like this. Next thing I know, I'm gonna be like, what the name of that movie is, man? When the nigga was the news reporter and he was changing white every time he got on camera. I can't remember the name of it. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I think it's Strictly Business or something like that. It's an old movie, man. Had a nigga who used to be on Living Single. You know what I'm talking about? And he was in Atlanta and he wanted to be a news reporter. And when he got on, he started changing white. Every time he looked in the camera, he seen it. That's how you feel when you go to talking like that. The next thing you're gonna be looking at this here, man. You're gonna be like, your hair gonna be turning looking like Brian Williams on the Eating News. You're gonna be sitting there looking at him and turn white. Next thing you know, you're gonna want crab cakes. You want to eat tuna casserole. You know what I'm talking about? Want to go to the symphony? You know what I'm saying? Wear pleated khaki shorts with boat shoes. No socks. With your polo shirt tucked in. Walking on the beach. Ain't going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Talking about I want to go play a round of golf. With the high knee-high socks on. I'm talking about you go to socks. Everything changed. Everything changed. You say, I ain't no longer shop at Winn-Dixie. I shop at Publix. You know what I'm saying? You go to where the white people go. I shop at Whole Foods. You go to talk. I never. All the type of stuff. You know how the people get on. Y'all can see some of y'all still put your white people voice on when y'all, only the women, 'cause I don't think the men do it. I done met a couple black dudes put their white people voice on when they call. Corey tripped me out today. Corey said he filled out an application and he looked up the definition of white and it said indigenous and original person. So he said, I clicked on my application. I was white. I said, wow. I say, boy, what we gonna do with it? I ain't mad at it, though. He said, by definition, I ain't lied. I said, yeah, you ain't lied. No. Exodus 32:3. He ain't lied, though. He said, I am indigenous and original. Shoot. He said, you the one ain't original, you lying. So I ain't black and I ain't American. And I ain't African either. Say his mama hurt his feelings because she always talking about I'm American. I feel like Willie D. You call me a patriot, I'm a bust your behind. You know what I'm talking about? Straight up and down. Feel just like Willie D. I'm the type of nigga throw a party when the flags burn. Nigga go to burning flag, nigga say, let's have a barbecue. Set off some fireworks. Nigga say, why you setting off? They done burnt the American flag. Shoot, I feel good. You know what I'm saying? Feel like James Brown, gonna cut a rug. I feel good. They done burnt that flag. Says, and the people break off their gold earrings, which were in their ears, and brought them unto Aaron, and he received them at their hand, and fashioned it with a graving tool after he had made it a molten calf. And they said, these be thy gods, O Yasharal, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. And when Aaron saw it, he built an altar before it, and Aaron made a proclamation and said, tomorrow is a feast to Yahuwah. Here's how they say that Yah's a pagan god, because they made a golden calf, and then he turned around and said, here's a feast to Yah, so Yah got to be a pagan god. This is their logic. Have any of y'all ever seen somebody use this logic before? Because I have. You know what I'm saying? This is their logic. Obviously, you know that that calf's name is not Yah. Obviously. Because he had just told these men, don't do that. Come on back to Isaiah chapter 6. Y'all got to be careful. Cuz Show hit me with that one there when I say, man, why would you want to be called a queen? It's a whore, it's a slut, it's a prostitute, it's a woman's vagina. But I say, but then I mentioned that, but I say, but most importantly, it's idolatry. You know what I'm saying? Most importantly, if you want to be a whore, slut, you know what I'm saying, all that type of stuff, that's your business. Slut it up. You know what I'm talking about? But we talking about idolatry though. And that's where we as Yahudim, as Yashrolites, that's where we gonna draw the line at, ain't it? Deuteronomy chapter 7 say don't bring no idols in your house, lest you be a cursed thing like unto it. Well, then you already know you seeking to be clothed with a house from the Shamahim. You know what I'm talking about? A tabernacle made in the Shamahim without hands. So you mean to tell me you're going to have idols in your house? Because you got to be a queen? Because you got to have Nikes on your feet? Because you got to watch the Olympics? You know what I'm saying? This type of stuff, they think we going to the extreme. But in my soul, I wouldn't want to lose my soul for watching the Tennessee Titans play. And I know that's an idolatrous God. And I know they purposely named their team after that. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't want to lose my life for that. Yeah, I like to watch the Jaguars play. I'm not going to watch them play the Titans. If the Titans was in the Super Bowl, I ain't watching it. Just because I know what a Titan is. You know what I'm saying? I know what that is. So I know what they're insinuating when they named the team that. They took that team from the Houston Oilers and they were called the Tennessee Oilers for about 2-3 years before they changed their name to the Titans. Everyone on this phone, I would wager, know what a Titan is and where that come from. So why would I want to watch that? Well, man, it's just a football. It's just the fact that every time the score come up, I'm going to see Titan and the Titans march down. It's going to make me uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? It's going to make me uncomfortable. And the Magic dribble up the court. Magic? Nigga, we don't even like Magic. Here come the Washington Wizards. We don't mess with wizards. Our law say a witch ought to be killed. And you already know, man, ain't no read no Harry Potter. Harry Potter can't come through my front door. Ain't watching no Harry Potter. I don't want to watch a nigga talking about Shazam. I'm talking about, but not only just with that man, that goes with genies. You know what I'm talking about? Because all that stuff is the same. And then when we talk to most people, okay, I'm not watching Thor. We know Thor is a Nordic god. I don't care nothing about it's a cartoon character. It's just a movie. It ain't just no movie. People really worship Thor on the earth to this day. Literally. Isaiah 6:3, man. 4. And the posts of the door moved at the voice of him that cried, and the house was filled with smoke. Then said I, woe is me, for I am undone, because I am a man of unclean lips, and I dwell in the midst of a people of unclean lips. For my eyes have seen the King, Yahuwah of hosts. Then flew one of the Sephims unto me, having a live coal in his hand, which had taken with the tongs from off the altar. And he laid it upon thy mouth, and said, Lo, this has touched thy lips, thy iniquity is taken away, and thy sin is purged. Ain't that son? He took something hot, cleanse him from that sin, right? He said, and I heard the voice of the Lord saying, whom shall I send, and whom will go for us? Then I said, here am I, send me. He said, who can we hire? And the Lord said, here I go, send me, I'll do it. Because a body you have prepared for me, because I came to do thy will. So I have a job. So if he has a job, what is the Lord's payment? What will he be paid for his job? Because he has an appointed time to do it. Let's look at John 13:1, and let's just see what he told him when his time was up. Because if you got an appointed time, that means you got a set time to do it. See, some of y'all don't work well under deadlines, under pressure. How many of y'all feel like you work good under a deadline, under pressure? Like, I got to have this done by this time, on this day and at this time. You think you work well under those circumstances? Well, Buffett says, shakes her head, no. Any of y'all think y'all work good under them circumstances? Let me just change it. How many of y'all think you don't work well under pressure? I guess you work better, Tony? I mean, some people do. Everybody, amen, everybody can't. I mean, some people can't work under a deadline and under pressure. Amen, ain't nothing wrong with it. You know what I'm saying? If you know you ain't good at it, then obviously you shouldn't put yourself in them situations and circumstances where that would happen. You know what I'm saying? Let me make this assertion right now. Just because something might be a weakness for you and a strong point for somebody else, that is not a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? Don't get down on yourself because you're like, no, I ain't good under pressure. See, that's the mind of a loser. You know what I'm saying? That is a mind of a loser. Okay, that's not your strength. You know what I'm talking about? So common sense would tell you if that's not your strength, to find, to have people around you that might be strong in that, to help you in that, to cover up your weakness. You know what I'm saying? The only way, or take the time and ability to take a weakness and turn it into a strength. That's the point of identifying weaknesses. You understand what I'm telling you? Once you identify a weakness, then you can be able to, it's no different than lifting weights. You know what I'm saying? You might be doing a movement and you might have some shaking, like, yeah, you got a muscle imbalance. You know what I'm saying? Maybe my right shoulder is weaker than my left. You know what I'm saying? Maybe my right quad is stronger than my left. Well, then I know what be able to do. Then I might start doing single leg extensions then. You know what I'm saying? I might do single arm shoulder presses or single arm lateral. You know what I'm saying? Certain things to be able to bring up that imbalance or that weak muscle to make it equal to the stronger one. You know what I'm saying? That way, now I'm strong all the way around the board. You got to be able to have the courage, the honesty to identify your weaknesses and then either surround yourself with people that can cover up those weaknesses for you, or the most bravest and noble thing to do, have the wherewithal to take a weakness and turn it into a strength. You know what I'm saying? To actually build that weakness up, to find out why am I weak in this area and what can I do to improve it. To therefore I take that weakness and it is now a strength. Or at least if it's not a strength, it's no longer a weak point. I can sufficiently accomplish that. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to have a mind of a loser. See, all losers do is look at, oh, I'm not good at this and I can't do that and all that. You're a loser. You know what I'm saying? That's a dangerous mind. It's no different like you hear in sports, a team will have a culture of losing. You know what I'm saying? The reason why they have a culture of losing, because leadership and their teammates and the coaches, they're losers. So therefore they teach losing habits and the loser's mentality, and it permeates the whole organization. You know what I'm saying? And it takes years to get rid of all these losers to change the culture of the organization. You know what I'm saying? Well, you're going to have to look at yourself. You are an organization. And if the people who you were around in your life, whether it's family or friends or co-workers, that they were losers, You know what I'm saying? And they had a loser's mentality. And therefore you picked up this losing mentality. And now you're in a different organization because now you're seeking to be in the organization of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? The Lord is not a loser. This is why Paul said, I can do all things through Hamashiach who strengthened me, because I know I come from the winning team. So therefore, no matter what I'm dealing, that's why he say I glory in my infirmities, that the glory of the esteem and the power of Hamashiach can rest upon me. Because when I'm weak, therefore I am strong. You know what I'm saying? So even when I'm at a low state and it seems like I'm losing, there is strength because my confidence rests in that I play for a winning team. Everyone around me is a winner. They didn't have a loser's mentality. They didn't quit. They didn't say, oh, woe is me. I can't do this. I can't do that. I'll never be able. No, that didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? So because these things don't happen, I know success is just but round the corner. I just got to run the race with patience. It's not given to the swift. You know what I'm saying? All I just got to do is be easy. And it'll pay off in the end. You sit back and you look at your life and things ain't going how you like it to move, or it look like things just falling apart, all this type of stuff. It ain't going how you want it, this, that, there, and the other. You just got to keep on going. You know what I'm saying? You can't get that foster the thing of that. How loser, I'm telling you, man, a loser mind. I'm like this here, man. You don't want that around you. You know what I'm saying? It's like the plague. It's like a sickness. It infects any and everyone it comes in contact with. And it eats you from the inside out. You know what I'm saying? Just like a virus does. Mentalities eat you from the inside out. Because that mentality is on the inside of a person. It comes out of their mouth. It comes in their actions, and then it infects you, and then the same thing happens to you, and then you go infect the next person. You know what I'm saying? I done told y'all anything y'all come to me, I can believe you can do it. You know what I'm saying? But you got to believe you can do it. You got to believe you can do it. You know, I tell T stuff all the time, like, I believe you can do this. No matter what it is, I believe you can do it. But you got to believe you can do it. You know what I'm saying? Even if you come tell me something, like I say, like I told y'all with Lil Muff when we're playing football. If it's an idea that I don't particularly think I would have tell you, I don't think that's the best thing for you. But if you can believe you can do it, I'll support you, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead and do your thing. But the key thing you got to remember, you got to believe you can do it. You're going to have to be able to chuck away all the people that are around you who were losers, who infected you with a losing mind frame. You know what I'm saying? And get yourself a mind frame. Even if you don't win, even if you don't get the success that doesn't make you a loser. You know what I'm talking about? When you sit back and you look at the Super Bowl, okay, the Seahawks lost the game. But were they really losers, or did they just lose the game? You know what I'm saying? They just lost the game. They weren't losers. They lost the game. You know what I'm saying? That's it. You can lose a game and still be a winner. You know what I'm talking about? You can be unsuccessful and still be a winner. Most winners have failed numerous times. You know what I'm saying? Numerous times. The reason why a lot of y'all have the number one key thing about a loser's mentality is fear of failure. You know what I'm saying? Losers are scared to fail. I'm going to tell you something. Winners don't like to lose, but they're not scared to lose. You know what I'm saying? Losers are scared to lose, therefore they're scared to win. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got to remember that. You got to remember that. Winners do not like to lose, but they're not scared to lose. Losers are scared to lose, therefore they're scared to win. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a difference. It's not that they don't like to lose, they just scared to lose, period. So when they scared to lose, period, why even try? The reason why, because they scared of success. They don't know what they're going to do with it. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't even know how to handle it because I've always had in my mind that I can't do nothing. My friends told me I couldn't do nothing. My mama told me I couldn't do nothing. My daddy told me I couldn't do nothing. This woman I'm with told me I couldn't do nothing. This man I'm with told me I couldn't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all done had somebody tell you that's why you ain't never gonna be blank. That's supposed to be fuel to your fire when somebody tell you that. That's supposed to fuel your fire when somebody tell you you can't do something. You're supposed to take that type of stuff and use that for motivation. Even if some of y'all dealing with this word and somebody come tell you you still the same person, you ain't changed, you supposed to use that for motivation to show them. Not just to show them up, but to show them. Nigga can't come tell me what I can't do. Because now I got to show them. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to use that for fuel. You know what I'm saying? Because you just told me I couldn't accomplish something. It's the point of how dare you tell me that I can't do something. Who do you think you are? That should offend you. You know what I'm talking about? I can't do that. Man, who this nigga? I'll show you better than I can tell you. I'll show you better than I can tell you what I can't do. Man, look here, man. And Delta know this from playing sports. Some of the most hyper-competitive athletes, they don't even need much for motivation. Something that you think it's just in it, just the slightest hint of disrespect. Oh, it's on. All Michael Jordan needed was for somebody to say 2 words against him, and that was motivation enough. Kobe Bryant the same way. I don't care where you get your motivation from. Get it, use it, let it fuel you. John 13:1. Y'all hear me though? He say, now before the feast of the Passover, when Yahushua knew that his hour was come. That means if his hour was come, that means his time and his hireling, his appointed time is up, right? That means he's getting ready to get his payment. It's time for me to get paid. Remember when he gave you the parable of the workers going out there in the vineyard and everybody got paid a penny? Y'all know what parable I'm talking about? And they say, man, when we came in before them, how they get the same thing as us? He said, how you going to talk to me about what I'm going to pay you? Don't you know the same payment that the son got, he going to get all of us? No matter if you started at the beginning or you came in late, everybody getting the same thing, eternal life? You think because you've been in the word longer, you're going to get a better payment than somebody who came in after you? That's how a lot of brothers think. Don't you know, man, y'all will, if y'all was the will, that every last one of us on here would be saved. Do you know that not one of us is going to get a greater reward than the other? You think because I was preaching, I'm going to get something more than you? Or I'm going to get something more than Dwight? Or I'm going to get something more than Pell? Or more than Troy? Or more than Corey? Or more than Kip? More than Delta? More than Terrell? That's the same thing go with you women. Everybody getting the same reward. Y'all got to realize that there is no upper ring where one person gonna get more than the other. If it's one thing about it, one thing for certain, 2 things for sure. When it comes to this word, ain't none of y'all got no business competing against each other. Now that's retarded. You know what I'm saying? Y'all ain't got no business competing against each other. The only person you should be competing against is yourself. You know what I'm saying? Competing against being a better version than the previous version was before you started dealing with this word. You know what I'm saying? That's it. You shouldn't be comparing yourself against another person. You shouldn't be competing against another person. You shouldn't be trying to mimic or emulate another person, because Epistle of Romans tell you emulation is a form of the works of the flesh when you're trying to imitate somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Just be the best version of you. You your own competition. You don't need to be doing that with nobody else. Says, now before the feast of the Passover, when Yahushua knew that his hour would come, that he should depart out of this world unto the Father, having loved his own which were in the world, he loved them unto the end. So let's swing on back to Job then. Now. We still hold 1 Peter chapter 1 and Nehemiah 6 and Job, Proverbs chapter 6. We about 1 hour and 37 minutes. It's 11 o'clock. I'm going to try to wrap this up sooner rather than later. If I can get to Job chapter 7, maybe we can have some action here. So what you think this means here in verse 2? As a servant earnestly desire the shadow, and as a hireling look for the reward of his work. So am I made to possess months of vanity, and wearisome nights are appointed to me. What you think that mean about a wearisome night being appointed? And while we're thinking on that, get 1 Timothy chapter 4 and about verse 3. What you think about wearisome nights being appointed to him? Because obviously, have we ascertained that he's a hireling and he had an appointed time to work? Have we ascertained that? I'll take that silence as a no. Or is that that's affirmative? Okay, make that 2 Timothy chapter 4 and about verse 3. Make it 1. So then we got to turn around and look at that. If we've ascertained, so when we sit back and we look at dealing with this word, then for intents and purposes, if he called you to the word, you've been hired a job and you have an appointed time to accomplish this job to receive that reward. Wouldn't you say? It says, I charge thee before Elohim and the Lord Yahushua HaMashiach, who shall judge the quick and the dead at his appearing and his kingdom. Preach the word, be instant in season and out of season, reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering of doctrine. For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lust shall they heap to themselves teachers having itching ears. And they shall turn away their ears from the truth and shall be turned unto fables. That's why these niggas sitting around here talking about learn the key. That woman is wisdom and get in contact with the woman, and the woman made the earth, and you know what I'm saying? The Lord is false and Yah is a moon god. That's what happens. That's what happens. He says, but watch thou in all things, endure afflictions. Keep that in mind, endure afflictions. Do the work of an evangelist, make full proof of thy ministry. For now I am ready to be offered, and the time of my departure is at hand. My time appointed has been completed. I have fought the good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. Henceforth there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, shall give me at that day, and not to me only, but unto all them that love his appearing. So don't it sound like Paul telling you, I had an appointed time, and as a hireling, I seek my reward? Don't that sound like that to y'all? So now then you got to turn around and you got to sit back and look at it. Now, of course, some of y'all not no preachers, but you're going to have to endure the sufferings for the word to make full proof that this man is dwelling in you and you dwelling in him. So, because you fought the good fight of faith, meaning you endured all things, you suffered all things, you stood on all things, you resisted the flesh, you resisted the world, you resisted the adversary, so you could get your payment. See, I mentioned this to y'all in Revelation 3 Wednesday. Let's look at it again. And we'll come right back to Job chapter 7. Revelation chapter 3 and about verse 10. Make it 8. Revelation 3 and 8. Excuse me. I know thy works. Behold, I've set before thee an open door. He set before you an open door. Remember, Nehemiah said, I ain't no breach in it. I ain't set the door up on the gates yet, though. And no man can shut it, for thou hast a little strength, and hast kept my word, and hast not denied my name. Behold, I will make them the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Yahudim, and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them come to worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee. Because thou hast kept my word of patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. Him that overcome will I make a pillar in the temple of my Elohim. He shall go no more out, and I will write upon him the name of my Elohim, and the name of the city of my Elohim, which is New Jerusalem, which come down out of Shamahim from my Elohim, and I will write upon him my new name. He that have an ear, let him hear what the Ruach saith unto the synagogue. You see the key thing the Lord was telling you? Hold fast that which you was heard, and nobody can take your reward which you have worked for. And when you get these things, this is your payment. You'll dwell in the temple of my God. Listen to what he told you your payment is going to be now. You'll be a pillar in the house of my God. You won't go no more out, so you'll continually dwell in his courts, as David told you. I will write upon him the name of my God, the city of my God, and his new name. So you know what that sounds like to me? What that sound like to y'all? Let me ask y'all what that sound like to y'all. Don't everybody run to the finish line at one time. You know what I'm saying? God knows we don't want nobody punching and kicking each other to be the first one to cross the line. It sounds like you would receive a reward or payment for your work then, don't it? You know, hold on. 1 Corinthians 15 and 57. I want us to look at some other stuff in Job chapter 7, but I'm not going to look at all that this evening. I'm not even going to tell you that lie. I'm not even going to look at all that. 1 Corinthians 15 and 57. This is what y'all need to remember. But thanks be to Elohim, which give us victory through our Lord Yahushua HaMashiach. Therefore, my beloved brethren, be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much as you know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. That means if you know your work is not for nothing, that means you know you're going to get something from this man. Wouldn't you say? So you need to sit back and look at, if there's an appointed time and a hireling looks for his reward, then you need to sit back. Remember what we mentioned this a long time ago. He that is diligent in his labor will stand before kings. If you diligent in your work to the Lord, he will pay you. Numbers 23 and 19. Titus chapter 1 come to my mind too. I guess we're going to look at that too. We'll look at Titus 1 and 1 after Numbers 23 and 19. You got to believe that this man is going to pay you if you do your job. Elohim is not a man that he should lie, neither the son of the man that he should repent. Have he said, shall he not do it? Or have he spoken, shall he not make it good? Don't you think if this man told you he gonna pay you, don't you think he pay you? See, y'all so used to dealing with niggas who tell bold-faced lies and ain't gonna do or give you what they say they gonna give you. You think the Lord lying too. That's why you don't want to do your work. Don't get tired of 1 and 1, because it's a borderline being redundant. But it came to my mind right after, so we're gonna read it anyway. And we're going to look at another thing, see what Paul say, how the word would manifest and how a man might be saved. How y'all think the word going to be manifested that a man might be saved? What y'all think going to happen? How you think it's going to happen? Well, nevertheless, don't worry about it. Titus 1 and 1. Paul, a servant of the Most High, an apostle of Yahushua HaMashiach, according to the faith of the Most High's elect, and the acknowledging of the truth which is after godliness, and the hope of eternal life, which Elohim that cannot lie promised before the world began, but have in due times manifested his word through preaching, which is committed unto me according to the commandment of Elohim our Savior. So if you sit back and look at it, how is the word going to be manifested, gentlemen? How the word going to be manifested, gentlemen? Don't everybody run at the same time now. How is the word going to be manifested, gentlemen? Through preaching. From preaching. That means somebody got to preach the word, somebody got to teach the word. So when you teach the word, so a man might know what his reward and his payment was for. That's why he kept saying, he that have an ear to hear, let him hear. It's like this here, somebody tell you, yeah, man, such and such hiring. If you was like this here and you was seeking after a job, then you heard such and such was hiring, don't you think you would get, if you heard that, you would go, well, where they at? Well, where they doing that at? You know what I'm saying? Where that's going on at? You'll seek that out because you heard that. As we talked about a couple weeks back, my sheep hear my voice and they follow me. Everyone that's of the truth, hear my voice. So if you are the truth and you hear his voice, you will hear the call to get the word. Then once you were here to call to get to work, you will know that your labor is not in vain when you start working for this man. And when I'm talking about working for this man, I ain't talking about just no preaching. If you know your work is not in vain for working with the man, for working for the man, why wouldn't you work for him? That means you know you would get a sure reward. Which we just seen Paul just told us that it's eternal life. That's my hope. That's what I hope to be paid. So now we're looking at this wall being built in troublous times. Let's go back to Nehemiah chapter 6. Matter of fact, before we look at that breach, he said there's no breach in it. So let's look at 1 Corinthians chapter 6. Ain't no breach in this wall. 1 Corinthians 6 and 15. Ain't no breach in this wall. He said, I ain't put the door on the gates yet, but ain't no breach in this wall though. And we know this wall was going to be rebuilt in troublous time, and this wall would be called salvation. And we know that what does Yahusha mean? Yah saves. Yah delivers. So the man would telling you then, when he say the walls of the city would be salvation, he would telling you about Yahusha then. But let these niggas tell it, they think he really talking about some walls. He say, know ye not that your bodies are the members of a Mashiach? Shall I then take the members of a Mashiach and make them the members of a harlot? Elohim forbid. What? Know ye not that he which is joined to a harlot is one body? For two saith he shall be one flesh, but he that is joined unto the Lord is one spirit. If you join to the Lord, I mean there is no separation because you are joined with him. Because a breach means there's a breakup, a separation. If you join to the Lord, there is no breach. There is no separation. Which goes back to what Paul wrote to us in 2 Corinthians chapter 5 about the gospel of reconciliation, about repairing the breach. Same thing that Paul preached in Romans chapter 3, which we looked at not too long ago, that this man was a propitiation for our sins to bring us back. To repair the breach, to repair the breakup of the house. You know, that's a very powerful thing right there, sitting back, going back what we were looking at Wednesday, about the blueness of a wound cleansing away evil and the stripes cleansing away evil. All those things that man took on was to cleanse away that evil so there could be no breach, that there would be no separation, that you actually could become one with your God again. See, come over here to Romans chapter 11 while I mention it, while I'm talking about that. Romans 11 and about 25. You know, I know a lot of times some of y'all be online and you see dudes arguing about this and arguing about that. And this also goes back to what I was telling y'all about what we read in Romans chapter 10, Hebrew chapter 10 earlier, about his body being a sacrifice to sanctify us all once and for all. Because he that sanctifieth and he that sanctify all are one, which means there is no breach. At the end of the day, all this stuff is about bringing us back to the oneness of our God. And after we read this, we'll read 1 John chapter 5. For I would not, brethren, that you should be ignorant of this mystery, that you should be wise in your own conceits, that blindness in part has happened to Yasharal until the fullness of the heathen be come in. And so all Yasharal shall be saved, as it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. This is my covenant unto them when I shall take away their sins. So you heard what he said. If he said out of Zion shall come the deliverer. So out of Zion shall come what? If he say deliverer, what's another word we could say for deliverer? Because I just said it now. Don't everybody run to the finish line at one time. Savior. Well, in the chapter that he quoting, it actually says Redeemer, because he's quoting Isaiah 59 when he said this. So if out of Zion will come the Savior, and the gate shall be called salvation, and this is when I will forgive your sins, means that this is when I'm going to rebuild the wall to where there would be no breach. He said the only thing he hadn't did with the wall yet was put the door on the gates. I'm going to show you, y'all will, in just a moment what that means, but I ain't put them doors on them gates. But 1 John 5 and 6. He said, this is he that came by water and blood, even Yahushua HaMashiach, not by water only, but by water and blood. And it is the Spirit that bear witness, because the Spirit is truth. For there are three that bear record in Shamahim, the Father, the Word, and the Ruach HaKodesh. And these three are one. And there are three that bear witness in the earth, the Spirit, and the water, and the blood, and these three agree in one. If we receive the witness of men, the witness of Elohim is greater. For this is the witness of Elohim, which he have testified of his Son. He that believe on the Son of Elohim, have witness in himself. He that believed not on Elohim has made him a liar, because he believed not the record that Elohim gave of his Son. And this is the record that Elohim have given to us eternal life, and this life is in his Son. He that have the Son have life. He that have not the Son of Elohim have not life. These things have I written unto you, that you might written unto you that believe on the name of the Son of Elohim, that you may know that ye have eternal life, and that you may believe on the name of the Son of Elohim. Now, you know, if you believe on the Son of the Most High, that means you believe on his word. And if you believe on his word, you would obey it. And if the three things in the Shamahim and the earth agree in one, and you agree with those three things that agree in one, doesn't that take us back to John 17 and about verse 20, when he say, Father, make us perfect in one as I'm perfect in you, which means there would be no breach. That means, and you got to understand something, when a Mashiach has risen from the dead, he has closed up the breach. I didn't read it in 1 Corinthians 15, but he said he's given us the victory. Well, we read, he said he gave us the victory. How did he get the victory? He overcame and he rose from the dead and he was rebuilt. Because you already know in John chapter 2, he said he spoke of the temple of his body, that he would raise that up in 3 days. Now you sitting back looking at the walls being raised up again. The city being rebuilt. Which we already know from when we looked at Hamashiach being the Tower of Babel, that these people say we seek for a city. He is that city being rebuilt, and the walls or the defense. Because that's what a wall around the city is for defense, correct? You know, the Lord is our defense. See, look at 1 Corinthians 10 and 13, I believe. See, a lot of times y'all don't allow him to be a defense. See, some of y'all come up saying, and the only reason why I mention it, because I hear them girls say this stuff all the time. 1 Corinthians 10 and 12, or 10 and 11. They be like, Lord, be a fence around me and all this old type of stuff. And they say this type of stuff, but they looking for a defense from people who may be getting on their nerves or things they don't like. When the Lord is a defense from the adversary, if you watch and you're sober and you stand steadfast on the word, he can defend you from this. He can shield you from your enemies. He can shield you from certain things. He says, verse 11. Now all these things happen unto them for ensamples, and they were written for our admonition, upon whom the ends of the world are come. Wherefore let him that think he stand take heed lest he fall. There have no temptation taken you, but such as common to man. But Elohim is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but with will the temptation also make a way to escape, that you may be able to bear it. Don't y'all sit back and realize that don't you realize that's the Lord being a wall and a defense for you, that he set up a way for you to get out of a situation? But a lot of y'all get in situations and you see there's an exit door and you won't walk out of it. The Lord say, I will never leave you and forsake you. He said, I will stand up and fight for you in the face of all your enemies. He will be a wall for you. He'll be a defense for you, a savior for you, a protector for you in all things. Say, hold on, let me see like this here. Come over here to the Acts of the Apostles. It's something that he told Paul. I want y'all to look at this. Like this here, man. Might be by Acts chapter 20. That I may be desiring at the time. I'm thinking if it ain't Acts 20, it's Acts 16. It's Acts 18, truth be told, that I desire. Acts 18, and we'll look at about verse 6. Make it 5. Acts 18 and 5. Somebody got the fire truck, come police out. Y'all ain't burning nobody's house down there. Don't burn it down, man. Don't burn it down. And when Silas and Timotheus were come from Macedonia, Paul was pressed in spirit and testified to the Yahudim that Yahusha was Hamashiach. And when they opposed themselves and blasphemed, he took his raiment and said unto them, Your blood be upon your own heads. I'm clean from henceforth, I will go unto the heathen. And he departed thence and entered into a certain man's house named Justus, one that worshipped the Most High, whose house joined hard to the synagogue. What y'all think that mean if his house was joined hard to the synagogue? What y'all think that mean? That mean he was a member, he was there on the regular. And that mean not just his house, that mean everybody in it, that mean they were faithful. That mean when it came time for the word, we there. Not just to sit back and just hear it and say that I'm here. I mean, I'm about this life. I'm a faithful member here. I'm about this life. He says, and Crispus, the chief ruler of the synagogue, believed on the Lord with all his house. And many of the Corinthians hearing believed and were immersed. Then spake the Lord to Paul in the night by a vision, Be not afraid, but speak, and hold not thy peace. For I am with thee, and no man shall set on thee to hurt thee, for I have much people in this city. And he continued there 1 year and 6 months, teaching the word of Elohim among them. So you see what he ended up being? He was telling Paul right then, I'm a wall for you. I'm protection for you. He said, don't be afraid of these people, man. Go put in your work. That's why Paul came back around in 2 Timothy chapter 4 and told you, I fought the good fight of faith, man. I got my payment. I'm finna get paid. And he said, not only me, but all those that gonna love the Lord at his appearing too. Y'all got to understand that concept of what he had to tell Paul. And then you already know in Acts 18, man, they go to want to start doing stuff to Paul. You know what I'm saying? Look at the defense that he showed for Paul. These people stoned this man, and this man got up and went back to preaching the next day. These people swore an oath that they would not eat till they killed this man. Do you know how serious that is to take an oath the way you ain't going to kill somebody? And thank the Lord, because I said that by taking an oath. Because me and Corey were talking about this earlier today. Go to Matthew chapter 5. You see how the Lord working Corey? It almost slipped my mind. He brought it back. Y'all ain't got no business taking oaths. That means anything come up about you got to take an oath, you ain't got no business doing it. That means you ain't got nothing to do with no jury duty. You just come in and tell them it's against my religion for me to do this. Acts chapter 5, verse 33. Say it's against my religion to do this. I know I done said it to y'all before, and it's also going to show y'all why you ain't got no business dyeing your hair too. He said, again, you have heard that it had been said by them of old time, thou shalt not forswear thyself, but thou shalt perform unto Yahuwah thine oaths. But I say unto you, swear not at all, neither by Shamahim, for it is Elohim's throne, not by the earth, for it is his footstool, neither by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. Neither shalt thou swear by thy head, because thou cannot make one hair white or black. But let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay. For whatsoever is more than these come evil. You ain't got no business taking no oaths. You ain't got no business swearing. And the people come and tell me, well, you don't got to swear, just affirm. That's just a fancy way to do the same thing. I'm straight. And you heard what he just said. You can't make one head on your hair white or black. So that means that's why you ain't got no business dyeing your hair. You dyeing your hair, you going against what the Lord say. Because didn't he just say you ain't got no ability to do it? Ain't that what he just said? So if he just said you ain't got no ability to do it, then guess what, man? How these niggas around here with all these blonde afros and all this type of stuff and blonde spots? Because they ain't just women dyeing their hair. A lot of these fruity booty niggas out here doing it too. How many of y'all be willing to dye your hair right now? I know some of y'all ready. And I ain't just talking about no woman either. How many of y'all had your hair dyed back in the day? It's all right. Ain't no shame. Man, just dye you some shoes. Keep it out your hair. You know what I'm saying? Now, let's come on back around here to Nehemiah chapter 6. We don't even got to get Nehemiah chapter 6 because I don't already mention it to you. I'm going to ask y'all a simple question. What do you think that means that he say the wall was rebuilt, but I hadn't put the door on the gate yet? What y'all think that means? Think real hard now. Don't everybody answer at one time. Okay, Tony say can't nobody get in or get out. Anybody else want to take a shot? Anybody? Going once. Going twice. John chapter 10. Let's see what he meant when he said I hadn't put, the wall had been rebuilt, but the door wasn't on the gate yet. So let me show you something. John 10 and 10, or 10 and 1. We look at John 10 and 1, Matthew 10 and 5. And when we look at Matthew 10 and 5, Luke chapter 24, and somehow, some way, 1 Peter chapter 1 and about verse 6 or 7 and Proverbs 6 and 23 is going to make an appearance. And it's going to tie into about a couple things we already looked at, and we're going to call it the evening. It's about 11:27. Yeah, get ready to call it evening. Truly, truly, I say unto you, he that enter not by the door into the sheepfold climb up some other way, the same as a thief and a robber. But he that enter in by the sheepfold, enter in by the door, is the shepherd of the sheep. To him the porter open, and the sheep hear his voice. He call his own sheep by name and lead them out. Remember what he told you, that you would come into the temple and you wouldn't go no more out, right? If you overcame, right? Ain't that what we read? Huh? Would y'all sleep? I'm telling you now, I don't want to put you to sleep now. Matter of fact, now I'm going to tell you like the Lord said, take your rest. Take your rest. And when he put forth his own sheep, he go before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. And a stranger they will not follow, but will flee from him, for they know not the voice of strangers. This parable spake Yahushua unto them, but they understood not what things they were which he spake unto them. Then said Yahushua unto them again, truly, truly, I say unto you, I am the door of the sheep. So obviously we know Yahushua, the Lord, is the gate, the wall, the gate, and the door, right? So let's turn around and let's look at Matthew 10 and 5, right? He said the wall been rebuilt, but I ain't put the door on the gate yet. So that means if the door ain't on the gate, you can't get in yet. I done rebuilt the wall, but you can't get in the gate yet because I ain't put the door on it. So let's look at Matthew 10 and 5. These 12 Yahushua sent forth and commanded them, saying, go not into the way of the heathen, and into any of the Samaritans enter ye not, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Yasharal. He told them, don't go to nobody else but your people. Go to the house of Yasharal. Go to them. Now let's look at Luke 24 and 36 real fast. And when we look at Luke 24 and 36, make it 34. Well, 33. And they rose up the same hour and returned to Jerusalem, and found the 11 gathered together, and them that were with them, saying, the Lord is risen indeed, and have appeared to Simon. And they told what things were done in the way, and how he was known of them in breaking of bread. And they thus spake Yahushua. And as they thus spake, Yahushua himself stood in the midst of them, and saith unto them, peace be unto you. Now, if the Lord is risen from the dead, and we've ascertained that he is the wall of salvation, and that wall that was built in troublous times, and I haven't went through that, but y'all should already have known it from previous experience. Let me reread that Job 7 real fast before I proceed. Well, he said, so I am made to possess months of vanity, and wearisome nights are appointed to me. You know, if something is wearisome, that means it's grievous to your soul, so to speak. Right? You know, before the Lord died, he said he was exceedingly sorrowful, even unto death, and it was nighttime. And don't you realize he's saying vanity or worthlessness, even though the stuff that he wasn't doing was worthlessness, but that vanity, so to speak, that Job is referring to is talking about certain things that Solomon spoke, which I got some stuff in Ecclesiastes chapter 8 that y'all we'll probably look at in the daytime. So he's talking about how the Lord, Job is talking about in that verse about, you know, I've been made to possess months of vanity and wearisome nights. You know what I'm saying? This is talking about the Lord doing his labor to get that payment, and now he's getting ready to die, and he's troubled in the night. Because it was nighttime. He had a wearisome night. I'm exceedingly sorrowful, even unto death. If it be possible, let this cup pass from me. I'm weary. And it's night. He prayed 3 times, prayed so hard the sweat coming off his head looked like blood. Came down like blood. I'm sweating so hard. So if we see him resurrected from the dead, right? Wouldn't you ascertain that that wall has been rebuilt? Huh? Let's look at verse 49 of the same chapter. And behold, I send the promise of my Father upon you, but tarry ye in the city of Jerusalem until you be endued with power from on high. And he led them out as far as to Bethany, and he lifted up his hands and blessed them. And it came to pass, when he blessed them, he parted from them and carried up into Shamahim. And they worshipped him and returned to Jerusalem with great joy, and were continually in the temple praising and blessing Elohim. So be it. Ain't that funny that people tell you not to worship the Lord and you read them doing that? Ain't that funny? Now let's look at Acts chapter 2 and let's see what happens here. Matter of fact, before we even read Acts chapter 2, not even gonna read Acts chapter 2. Acts chapter 10, verse 32. Because he said the wall was rebuilt, but the door hadn't been opened. Acts chapter 10, verse 32. Acts chapter 10, verse 32. We'll get to some of the other stuff with Queen, some of the translations in there, but right now we just moving past all that, and we still got to ascertain how that woman is going to be draped in gold that's sitting at his right hand. He say, send therefore to Joppa and call hither Simon, whose surname is Peter. He is lodged in the house of one Simon a tanner by the seaside, who, when he comes, shall speak unto thee. Immediately, therefore, I sent to thee, and thou hast well done that thou art come. Now, therefore, are we all here present before the Most High to hear all the things that are commanded thee of the Most High? Then Peter opened his mouth and said, of a truth, I perceive that the Most High is no respecter of persons, but every nation, he that fear him and work righteousness, is accepted with him. The word which Elohim sent unto the children of Yasharal, preaching peace by Yahushua HaMashiach, he is Lord of all. So this is Cornelius, right? Who a lot, and what do y'all know about Cornelius? Well, I mean, what do y'all hear about Cornelius, I should say? They try to say he was an Israelite. Now, does this make any sense for an Israelite to say that I see that the Most High is not a respecter of person? Why would he say that about his own kind? That makes no sense. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. Let's look at Acts chapter 14, verse 24. We'll look at 22. Remember, it said the wall had been rebuilt, but it hadn't, the door wasn't on the gates yet, though. Give me a second, this stinking charger. Come on, man, work with me. I guess we got enough to get us through to finish though. He said, confirming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them to continue in the faith, that we must through much tribulation into the kingdom of Elohim. And when they had ordained them elders in every synagogue and had prayed with fasting, they commended them to the Lord on whom they believed. And after they had passed through Pisidia, they came to Pamphylia. And when they had preached the word of Perga, they went down into Italia, and thence sailed to Antioch, from whence they had been recommended to the grace of Elohim for the work which they fulfilled. And when they were come and had gathered the synagogue together, they had rehearsed all that Elohim had done unto them, and how he had opened the door of faith unto the heathen. So when you look at the wall being rebuilt, see, come back to Nehemiah chapter 6. When you look at the wall being rebuilt, but the door not being set up, the door was set up when he let Cornelius in. Then they could come in, because Yasharal was already in the house. They didn't have to come in by no, we was already there. That's why he sat back and told them. When you sit back and look at it, they were already in the house. They had already came in by the door. They had already came in. But when he rose from the dead, I hadn't put the door on the gate yet. Now once I put the door on the gate yet, they can all get in. Dang, what that was I just asked for. Mine just went blank. Yeah, Nehemiah 6. Nehemiah 6. Back to Nehemiah 6. It's old sometimes. Nehemiah 6 and 6. Look what he said that they were going to do after he told these men, we done, you know at verse 3, he say, I can't come down. Why should the work cease to leave it? He say, I'm working on the wall. I'm up here. But we look at verse 6. He say, where it was witnessed, reported among the heathen, and Gashmu saith it, that thou and the Yahudim think to rebel, for which cause thou build the wall, and that thou may be their king according to these words. And thou also appointed prophets to preach of thee at Jerusalem, saying, there's a king in Yehuda, and now it shall be reported to the king according to these words. Come now, therefore, let us take counsel together. Well, we already read in Matthew chapter 10, where Mashiach told them go preach the word to the whole house of Yasharal. And then we turn around and look at Matthew chapter 28, because they say, go out there and preach there's a king in Yehuda. And let's just see what Matthew 28 and 18, he just told these men to go do. That's why these niggas mad right now about you around here talking about the Lord as king. You talking about there's a king in Judah. There's a king in Israel. If niggas always scream, if he was a king, what has he done for our people? What has he done? What has he done? He delivered you from death and sanctified you once and for all, you idiotic fool. He gave you an opportunity to get the payment of eternal life, you stupid nigga. See, that's what I be talking about. I can't call a man who's an outright blasphemer say he my brother. I'll use a nigga. My brother wasn't taught like that. You idiotic nigga. You stupid nigga. You dumb nigga. You dumb bastard. You know what I'm saying? Any type of connotation that pertains, any adjective that pertains to any level of stupidity applies to you. You know what I'm saying? He said, and Yahusha came and spake unto them, saying, all power was given unto me in Shamahim and in the earth. Go you therefore and teach all nations, immersing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Ruach HaKodesh, teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you, and lo, I'm with you always, even unto the end of the world. So be it. So don't you know when he, and don't you know if he go to get Peter and he say, upon this house, upon this rock, I'm going to build my house. So, of course, the door wouldn't have to be set up because Peter had to be the one to let him in. Don't you see of all the apostles that for a heathen, for a Gentile to get the word from, they had to go to Peter. Because he said, upon this rock, I'm going to build my house. I already done built the wall. I'm the door. I'm the one I told you I'm going to build my house on you. The house being rebuilt, I ain't put the door on the gates. I need you to open the door of faith to the Gentiles so they can get it. Come back to Romans chapter 11. See, if you open it up to them, then they can get it. And then what's written here by the Apostle Paul in Romans 11 like this here. That's why these dudes always kill me. You dudes that talking about trying to save the heathen, trying to do this. And I ain't, man, look here, man, we just preaching the word like the man told it to. That man say teach all nations. So you going to see the man you say you believe in tell his apostles to teach all nations and you going to say not to do it? That means you are sinning. You doing directly opposite of what the man said to do. Did y'all not just read this man say teach all nations? Did you not just read that? Don't everybody answer at one time. God knows I wouldn't be able to be confused on what the answer was. Did he not say that? So guess what? So if you decide that you're not going to do that, are you sinning or are you in obedience? I mean, I wasn't asking. Okay, then. I guess Terrell the only one breed. I guess he the only one alive. Romans chapter 11. Let's see what I want at right here, man. Romans 11, I say probably about verse 29. He say, for the gifts and callings of the Most High are without repentance. For as you in times past have not believed Elohim, yet have now obtained mercy through their unbelief. For even so have these now also now not believed, that through your mercy they may also obtain mercy. For Elohim have concluded them all in unbelief, that he might have mercy upon all. Oh, the depth of the riches both of the wisdom and knowledge of Elohim! How unsearchable are his judgments and his ways past finding out. For who have known the mind of Yahuwah, or who have been his counselor, or who have first given to him, and it shall be recompensed unto him again. For of him, and through him, and to him are all things, to whom be glory forever. So be it. So that makes a lot of sense right there. He did this so all us we already know the heathen was serving idolatrous gods, so they didn't believe. Because how could they believe if the laws and statutes were given under Yasharal and they didn't know them? So obviously they had to be counted in unbelief. And then Yisrael or Yasharal was given the word, and therefore they disobeyed, so therefore they were in unbelief. How can these niggas take this and say this is talking about Israelites alone? That doesn't make any sense. Now we've ascertained that, and we've ascertained this. Let's look at Proverbs 6 and 23. Is everybody okay besides Terrell? Okay. Six and 23. I'm sorry, not 23, 27. 6 and 27. Proverbs 6 and 27. He's asking you a question. I'm gonna see how y'all feel about the question. Can a man take fire in his bosom and his clothes not be burnt? Can one go upon hot coals and his feet not be burnt? What y'all think the answer to that question be? Don't everybody answer at one time? He said, can a man take fire in his bosom and his clothes not be burnt? He said, can you walk across hot coals and your feet not be burned? Do you think it's able for you think you could be able to take some fire in your bosom and your clothes don't get burned? Don't think that's possible. You think it's possible to walk across hot coals and your feet don't get burned? Okay, well, let's look and see then. Let's go look at Daniel then. Daniel chapter 3. I'll say about verse 19. Daniel chapter 3, about verse 19. And it says, then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury, and the form of his visage changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 7 times more than it was wont to be heat. And he commanded that the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Then these men were bound in their coats, their hosen, and their hats, and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent, and the furnace exceeding hot, the flame of fire slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down, bound in the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished, and rose up in haste, and spake and said unto his counselors, did we not cast 3 men bound in the midst of the fire? And they answered unto the king, true, O king. He answered and said, lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt. And the form of the fourth is like the son of Elohim. Then Nebuchadnezzar came near the mouth of the burning fiery furnace, and spake and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, ye servants of the Most High Elohim, come forth and come hither. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth out of the midst of the fire. And the princes and governors and captains and the king's counselors, being gathered together, saw these men, upon whose bodies the fire had no power, nor was a hair of their head singed, neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of fire had passed on them. What do you think that means? See, when they came out of that fire, it said the smell of fire wasn't on them, their hair wasn't singed, none of that. What do you think that could mean? That they took fire in their bosom and they weren't burnt. They walked on hot coals and their feet didn't get burned. So what do you think this actually could be referring to? You know another thing, right? This actually tied to when he said not even a hair on their head was singed. Look at Luke chapter 12 about a hair, not even a hair on their head was singed. You'll see why the Lord told you this right here. Verse 7. Make it 6. Luke 12 and 6. And now we'll go look at 1 Peter chapter 1 and about verse 6 or 7. See which one it is. Are not 5 sparrows sold for 2 farthings, and not one of them is forgotten before the Most High? But even the very hairs of your head are all numbered. Fear not, therefore, ye are of more value than many sparrows. And I say unto you, whosoever shall confess me before men, him shall the Son of Man also confess before the Malachim of Elohim. Don't you realize when Nebuchadnezzar threatened to throw Azariah and Mishael in that fire, that they confessed Yahuwah of hosts before that man? Don't you realize when they got thrown in that fire, not one of their hairs of their head fell off their head? Because they were more valuable to y'all. Why were they valuable? This is actually showing you about, I have refined thee in the furnace of affliction. Some of y'all have been getting burned in your bosom and been walking on hot coals, and you ain't been burned the whole time. This was also going back to what we read in Isaiah chapter 6, when he took them hot coals and put it on his lips and said, your iniquity is purged. Because through the going on of heat, that's why it goes back to when the Lord say, I counsel thee to buy gold for me tried in the fire, that you might be rich. This is talking about going through a purifying state. See, affliction will be able to take you through a purifying state, just like we talked about on Wednesday about the blueness of the wounds, cleansing you from evil, and the chastisement and enduring the afflictions, what we read earlier, what I told you when I focused on that in 2 Timothy chapter 4, is to purge you of all these impurities that you might be able to stand before Yahuwah, just like Isaiah did in that 6th chapter. Come on to 1 Peter chapter 1 and verse 6. And see, when you get all of these things, then you can be able to be dressed in that gold and receive that reward to sit at the right hand. Which goes back to Revelation 19. This is the marriage supper of the Lamb. Her wife, his wife has made herself ready. Because when you look at that wife sitting at the right hand of the king, we know the wife of the king is Yasharal. And if she's draped in the gold of Ophir, which goes back to Isaiah chapter 54, when he talking about she'll be covered in carbuncles and precious jewels, going back to what you read in Ezekiel, when he talked about he gave us the finest jewels and all of these type of things, because now I can deck my wife in gold, like he told in Isaiah 60, I give you this gold. So we know when they put queen right there, they ain't really talking about no queen. It's talking about a woman, the wife of a king. And the wife of a king is Yasharal. You know what I'm saying? That's his wife. That's who's at his right hand. That's who he laid his life down for. That's who he gathered up riches to provide for. That's why he told you, why don't you come get gold out the fire tried for me? How about you take yourself through a little sun and come out clean on the other side? 1 Peter 1 and 6. Wherein ye greatly rejoice, though now for a season, if need be. You heard what he said, now for a season if need be. That means if it's got to be for a season or a couple seasons. I hear you, man, you're going to have to go through this stuff. Ye are in heaviness through manifold temptations, that the trial of your faith, being much more precious than of gold that perish, though it be tried with fire, might be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Yahushua HaMashiach. Don't you realize that the trial of their faith in that furnace, it was found with praise, glory, and honor when they came up out of there? Don't y'all realize that? Was they not their faith tried? And they were literally put in the fire for the trying of their faith. And when they came out, it was to the praise and glory for their praise and their glory and honor through the Lord. That's what was found. These men went to praising God after these men came up out of their furnace. They were amazed. They say, my God, these men went in here and they got burned. I don't even smell fire on them. The fire was so hot it burnt the men who threw them in there. Now, can you imagine what type of stuff be going to your mind if you were standing there and you witnessed that? You got to sit back and look at right here, and you ain't got to go back to it. And in that Daniel chapter 3, Nebuchadnezzar was so amazed about this that he changed the king's word and yielded their bodies that they might not serve nor worship any god except their own, and made a decree that if anybody spoke anything against Yahuwah, that they should be cut in pieces and their house be made as dunghill, because ain't no other God going to be able to deliver after this manner. So don't you realize that's to the praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Yahushua HaMashiach? Because remember, they say we see a man in there like the Son of the Most High. Not saying that was Yahushua in there. They said like. That means similar. So when he appeared and delivered them from such a trial that they went through, they sat back and be like, man, look here. Boy, ain't no other God. Ain't nobody else working no salvation like this. That was the praise and glory and honor right there. He say, receiving the end of your faith, even the salvation of your souls. Didn't they receive the end of their faith and the saving of their soul? Didn't they receive that? So that's sitting back showing you that you can be tried and you can be burned, because you got to sit back and turn around and look at it with the Lord. He was burned because remember, he was a burnt offering. He was burned, but he didn't burn his clothes. He walked on hot coals, yet his feet were not burned. Sometimes you got to sit back and look at this. And it's what I was going back talking to you about, winners and losers. Winners know before that I can reach the pinnacle of success, there has to be a little bit of adversity. And then when I go through that adversity will have me stronger on the other end, that I may be able to attain the success that I'm after, because I was willing to take that on. You're going to have to sit back and realize some things is suffering and some things are just life. I'm going to tell you, everything you're going through is not necessarily the Lord chastening you or taking you through a trial of fire. Some things are just life. You know what I'm saying? Some things happen by time and chance, and it's just life. 1 Corinthians chapter 3, and I think I'll stop right there. But some things the Lord is trying to get stuff up out of you. And in order to get that impurities up out of you, I got to crank up the heat. But a lot of y'all don't want that heat to be crunk up. You can't stand the pressure. It's basically like this here. You want to change, but you don't want to go through the rigorous fire and trial to bring about that change. Verse 12. Now, if any man build upon this foundation gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, stubble, every man's work shall be made manifest, for the day shall declare it, because it shall be revealed by fire, and the fire shall try every man's work of what sort it is. If any man work abide, which he hath built thereupon, he shall receive a reward. If any man's work shall be burnt, he shall suffer loss, but he himself shall be saved, yet so as by fire. If the trying of your faith will burn up the ungodly works that you're doing, that you might be saved, let those things be burned. And with that being said, praise ye Yahuwah for Yahushua HaMashiach in the word. Y'all understood all this stuff this evening? Thank